Hey guys, and welcome to the Indie Game Culture Podcast once again. I am Cal, I am with JT. Melika is back, and we are going to be talking about indie games as we normally do. First of all, the dreaded admin. I'm going to run through once again. We have a website. You've probably heard of it by now. It's indiegameculture.com. We do news, we do reviews, we do guides, we do all of that nice stuff. We also have socials such as TikTok, such as Facebook, such as Twitter. I could name them all off, but you know what they are. I'm not going to be patronizing. I already was. I was literally doing it, but let's not talk about it. And we have TikTok as well. And then we also have a Discord where you can come and chat to us and tell us all the nice games that you've been playing recently, and we will tell you about all the ones we've been playing, even though we do it right now. That's the whole show. Well, yeah, that is everything I needed to run through. Also, give us 5 stars. We would love that. It will make people see us more and hear us more, and then we will expand into the global phenomenon that we all deserve to be.
Yeah,
but until then, how is everyone?
I've actually got some quite exciting news, which I would like to
all
share.
The news.
I have got myself a part-time job as a climbing instructor.
All right, Woo! Congrats.
Yep, I start my training tomorrow. I'm very, very happy and excited about it because I just want it to be perfect for me because I love climbing. I love earning money. It's a perfect combination.
How many hours are you going to be at it?
Oh, not many. The shifts haven't come out yet, but it'll be like 10, 15 hours a week. Just a little booster. Raise some money for going to conventions. I'm very excited. Got the one coming up in December.
It would be very hard to get a 40-hour-a-week job.
I don't. Yeah. I was going to say I like my writing too much. I don't want anything that will take away my time from being able to do my writing.
But yeah, that's a nice little one. I used to have a quite similar one when I was younger. I was a trampoline instructor for a little while.
Nice.
But
my mum was actually a trampoline instructor for a while.
Yeah, it's a fun one. It keeps you really fit. Yeah, that was only for like 4 or 8 hours a week at best, and that was enough. That was so.
I remember one time for my birthday, my husband took me to this like place that was like one of those places that had like trampolines all over the floor and stuff, and I was so out of breath by like 15 minutes in. It was like a 2-hour session. I was like, this is so fun, but I do not have the energy for this. I loved the one where you have to like jump as far as you could into like the pit of foam. That was a lot of fun.
That's how those things tend to go. You book in for the hour and you're like, I'm going to be all over this place for an hour, and in 10 minutes and you're like, I want to go home.
It's like it's so fun but so tiring.
That's why like all the kids that ever came to that trampoline park, they'd seen me as like some sort of deity because I'd done it all the time, and I had like legs like tree trunks because I'd done it all day, and they're like, how are you still going? I'm like, honestly, I don't really know. But yeah, that's cool. That's a really cool job to have.
Yeah, pretty awesome.
What about you, JT? What you been at?
Yeah, well, I've been traveling a bit. I mentioned last time I went to TwitchCon, and then this time for Halloween, I was visiting a friend in the south, and it was a lot of fun. I just, unfortunately, there was a big cold front the U.S. had, so I was woefully unprepared and got very cold. But overall, it was a good trip. We went out for karaoke and sang a bunch of Disney songs and other naughty songs, and it was great. And some alcohol was involved, so we got pretty into it, but it was great.
And what was your Disney song of choice?
I was going to say.
I think it might have been Part of Your World.
Okay.
I wasn't the one putting on this Disney songs, but I like threw myself into them. It was a really
Did you
good
sing
time.
"I'll Make a Man Out of You"?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, that is the go-to. If there's going to be a Disney sing-along, that has got to be in there.
You can't not go to karaoke and sing Disney songs and not sing that song.
Exactly. It is. If you can only choose one song, that is the song.
See, whenever I do karaoke, I'm not a fantastic singer, so I go down the ironically bad route. So I always pick very feminine songs. So mine will be...
So you can do a little falsetto.
Yeah, I really try and go for it. Like, for example, my normal karaoke song is My Heart Will Go On.
Yes.
That will go awful. So the Disney version would be the Hercules one that Megara sings. I
Don't Want to Fall in Love?
That's the one.
Oh.
That's the one I would go for personally.
After this podcast is done recording, you owe us a voice note in the Slack of you singing My Heart Will Go On, Cal.
Oh, gosh.
Trust me, no one wants that.
I want that. I'm pretty sure JT also really wants that.
Well, yeah, of course. Callum, I'm just thinking about like you being the Disco Elysium person in the karaoke night, and you intentionally failed the check. I was like, all right, I'm going to throw myself into this. They're just going to have to like accept this.
Yeah, that would be my vibe. Absolutely.
If there was an indie game culture podcast bingo, it would be JT talking about Disco Elysium.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So that's one tick already, guys. Keep an eye on everything else.
Me and
As
Cal
for-
arguing is definitely another one.
Yeah. As for me, it's been very, very boring. I'm going to bring us down to earth. I have had car trouble. That has been my week.
I
No.
hate when car trouble's like the worst feeling.
But it's not even like legitimate car trouble. It's more like inconvenience car trouble. It's not
Right.
broken down. It still drives perfectly fine. But I've got a check engine light and I know exactly what it is. And it's a sensor. And that means I have to go and get it fixed. And its MOT
It
is very
costs
soon.
money.
Just agitating little things that I really don't like. But that
In the interest of not incriminating myself, hypothetically, I might have once had damaged brakes and kept on driving anyway because I wanted to wait until after the MOT and get it all done in one go.
I mean,
Hypothetically,
I drove a car without a clutch for a couple of weeks.
hypothetically, Cal.
Nah, like what do you call that whenever it's past
Statute of limitations.
statute of limitations? They can't get
We
me.
have
It's fine.
statute of limitations in the UK.
Let's pretend we do. But let's get away from this incriminating chat and let's talk about
Yes.
video games, people.
Yeah,
we are
I like
moving
it.
on to our first section, which is games we have been playing. I think I will start this time mainly because I know
you never start.
I'm going to start, and mainly just because there is an immediate crossover between me and Melika, basically
yes.
straight away.
Yes.
So we're going to kick off things with a little thing called Jusant, which we've
Whoop.
mentioned a couple times. It is a mountaineering platformer kind of therapeutic adventure game, and I reviewed it quite positively. I thought that in terms of the climbing mechanics, they're about as good as I've ever seen in any game, really. I don't think any game tries to do it in the same kind of level of detail and like methodically craft something where you have to think about your climbing from a limb to limb basis. The only other thing I've ever seen do that is a game called Grow Home, which most people probably played because it was like,
I haven't heard of that one before, actually.
see, it was a free-to-play PS Plus game that was given out in, I think it was like 2015, so it was quite a while ago. It's essentially a game.
So cute.
Yeah, you play as a little robot and you climb to the top of a massive plant. That is literally the whole game. It's more of a tech demo kind of sandboxy thing than it is like a platformer, but it's still actually very good. I quite liked it. But the thing that was kind of the killer thing about it was that you could you go from limb to limb and had to think about your climbing that way. Jusant does that, but it does it so much better, obviously. So from a climbing perspective, I thought it was really good. The only criticism I had of the climbing was I thought it was a little bit too easy once you got the hang of it. Like the initial stages, you have to learn and get to grips with it, and there is a little bit of that stage where you're not quite there and you haven't got mastery of it, but eventually that comes within a chapter or two. And then by the time you get to like the end chapter where you have to do like the big climb to finish, you're like, this is easy. This is laughably easy. Like I know I can do this in my sleep. So I kind of wanted there to be like an extreme difficulty mode where they took the stamina down, or they made the pathways a lot more limited so that you had to really
I mean,
think-
the sun being out kind of is a stamina thing because you had to be quick when you're climbing in the sun because otherwise your stamina decreased too quickly.
Yeah, well, I think that was probably the most competent chapter of the 6, but even still, like
That's where I've got up to because I've got to one point where I've climbed quite hard to get somewhere and I have no idea where I'm supposed to go from here, but I don't want to jump down and have a bit more look down because it took me ages to get to this point. So I'm kind of going to come back to it and see if I can look back with fresh eyes to figure out where on earth it wants me to go. I'm hoping it's kept the quick resume on the save and I don't have to do that whole climb again.
Yeah, well, it's one where you can't really go wrong in terms of the pathways because it gives multiple pathways to success.
Oh, it does. Okay, cool. That's what I was thinking. There were two different routes I could have taken, and I took one, and I wasn't sure if it was the right thing or what. So yeah, that makes more sense. I guess
There tends to be like 2, maybe 3 branching paths, and maybe one of those paths has like a secret collectible, but every single way leads to the way you're going to go. It funnels you at the end.
That's
so
good.
You're never really going to go wrong. So that aspect of the game, the platforming and the climbing and everything, the general gameplay, excellent. I thought it was very, very good. Everything else I thought was a bit of a letdown.
See, I completely disagree with you on that. I really liked the lore because I haven't finished the game yet, but so far I'm really liking learning about the lore of the game and what happened to everyone. It's really interesting.
I like the concept of it. I like the way that it's set up as this kind of like used to be like this vibrant place, but then there was a huge drought and everyone's gone, and you try and figure out why. The concept's good. The way that they deliver it in the form of like notes, it's already a tough format to make work because you're not giving people characters they can engage with and get to know. You're literally putting them on a page and you have to get to know them that way. So there's no...
I like that. It slowly develops them.
What about
it's
the
just
mention of the frog, though? I heard something about that.
Yeah, so you get a little companion called
It's a little
Balance.
buddy.
Yeah, so he's I call him a little frog because he kind of looks most like a
It's
frog.
like a frog made of slime.
Yeah, he
He's
kind
like
of
this big
looks
blobby. He's got like a froggy face, but it's like a big slimy blob.
like a
It's a
blue
cute slimy
version,
blob.
like a blue version of Morph from Treasure Planet. If you've ever seen that.
I'm gonna Google that. I don't think I feel like Treasure Planet's like one of the only cartoon movies that I haven't actually seen.
It's one of my favorite Disney films, and no one really likes it. But I
Oh
think
my
it's great.
gosh, yeah, I can
Oh,
see
then
that.
it's
Yeah,
all-
it is like a blue morph basically, but like a fatter blue morph.
Yeah,
He's
So-
a big chunky guy.
but that kind of brings up one of the like main things I had to say about the story and how the note aspect and like learning about the world around you falls flat in comparison to your connection to this little guy. And there's no dialogue. There's no real... You don't really get a firm understanding of what the connection is between the player character and the little companion, other than he's cute and I die for him. Like that's the only thing you kind of get from it.
Yeah.
And then whenever like you get to the end and things happen, like you have this emotional connection to this this little thing, and it's such a it's a much more powerful moment than anything that's delivered through the notes. And I think like the notes are okay and the story itself is fine, but it's the choice of making it this like silent story told through notes that already limits it and makes it harder to engage with. And I don't think the writing and the story itself is strong enough, because there are a lot of text-based games that can do things like that and deliver it really well. I just don't think it's standout. I think it's okay. It's just
I
not standout.
respect your opinion, but I disagree with it. I think the writing is done really well because they've got to make it work in short enough bursts that people aren't just going to have like several pages of notes in one go that they're going to skip. They need to make one note at a time, a decent length, so you can get information without it being too long. I liked the way that it was done naturally. It didn't feel like forced exposition. It felt like these are notes that people would genuinely send to each other, and I think that's a very tricky balance to get, where we're learning enough about the world without it feeling like, oh yeah, the only purpose anyone would have to write this is to inform someone about the world. Like it really did feel like the stuff that was slipped in felt natural. It felt like that's how it would be communicated between the characters, and I thought it really humanized them, seeing how they reacted to the, obviously in the notes words, but how they reacted to the event that caused this in the first place, seeing the different characters' responses, seeing how that affected their relationships with the other characters. And I do like that you get notes from the same characters like throughout the game, so you can sort of see their journey. Like, for example, one of the characters, she mentions that she's leaving these notes behind as she goes to like pass on her legacy through anyone who happens to pass. So like there's an explanation for why they're there as well, which I think is cool, because a lot of games they'll have stuff there, but it's not really explained what it's doing. Whereas this one explains very early on, this woman's got her journal. Once you finish the page, she like tucks it away for someone to find in the future. And I think that's a really cool idea.
I think that the Bianca journals, the ones you're talking about,
Yeah.
they are the stronger notes that are left for sure. But I think all the rest of them that are kind of there not to deliver story, but to kind of place you in the world where you're at.
Like the
I think-
shopkeepers and stuff.
I don't think it does a very good job of...
Because I think it shows
building-
the deterioration of the society. It shows how they've gone from this like vibrant, bustling society to something else spoilery.
I just think it's very broad strokes. It does do exactly what you're saying, but it does it in very broad strokes. I don't think it's detailed enough. I don't think it's meticulous enough. And whenever you're like going through these areas that are supposed to be like core aspects of their like society, I'm like, this could literally be anywhere from the last chapter. And just it just wasn't for me, the story.
I
or the
get what
world.
you're saying. I get what you're saying, but I think for me, I think I liked how subtle it was. I think it felt very natural. It made the place feel more immersive to me.
It's done well for what it is, because it's a
Yeah.
very hard thing to do.
Because that's the thing. I think it is a deliberate choice by them. I think this is, rather than it being they've done it badly, I think it's more the way they've done it doesn't resonate with what you want from a game, rather than it's poorly done, in my opinion.
Well, considering Journey's like one of my favorite games ever, I don't know if that's necessarily true. But I mean, I like silent storytelling, but it's a very hard medium to get right. And I think like they're not a million miles away, but I just think they could have done it a lot better.
Yeah, I can respect it. Like I said, respect it, disagree.
And I also said in my review as well that the soundtrack does an awful lot to carry the story on its shoulders. It's a very good soundtrack.
Yeah, it would be really boring to play without the soundtrack. Because that was my main worry when I played the demo for it. I was concerned that it was just going to get really repetitive and boring through the climbing. But the difference is the demo didn't have any of the collectibles or any of the notes, and I think that does help to break it down so it's not just climbing. And I do like that you have the different sort of like towns that you go to on your way, where you're walking more flat and doing more like over platforms rather than just climbing. And I think that mix really does help it. Yeah. Also, the little chocos, they're cute. They're sort of like chunky rat-like things, but they're really adorable.
It just landed on the right side of those kind of rubbery My First Unity kind of games, because it does give that vibe to some extent, but because of like really good lighting and the world being like quite animated, even though it's very like silent and you're completely alone, but there's still a lot of life there. They do enough to make it feel like a well-polished, put together thing rather than just here's some rubbery assets that everyone uses.
I think the lighting does actually deserve a special mention. It's done very. I remember one time I was walking through a path and I saw this shadow of like some like birds on a wire, and I was like looking around, and it was like literally they'd been like from all the way up on a tower above me, and they'd like got the shadow because the sun was coming from that direction. The shadow was reflecting on the wall next to me, and that was like such a clever way of doing it. And like the way it affects the character's skin, turning in more redder in certain environments, it's done incredibly well. The lighting in that game.
Yeah, it is good. No, there is one aspect of the climbing that I did want to rag on. See, every time you're not like attached to the wall and you're like swinging or you're on the rope,
you're like running across the wall.
Well, that bit's actually not bad. It's the more ragdoll aspects of whenever you're like trying to repel yourself like back up after like, let's say
you catch on rocks and stuff. It's very frustrating.
Yes. And there's no real way to fix it.
I was worried a couple of times that I might have soft locked myself because I was like caught in these environments and I couldn't get out. Yeah. And as far as I'm aware, there's no way to like, you can like load last checkpoint actually, but I didn't want to. And I was like, okay, if I can't go up, that's fine. Then let me jump to something else or let me drop, let me fall to my death. I don't care, but like, don't leave me trapped with the rope caught on this rock and I can't get back up to where I was. Yeah, that was very annoying.
Yeah. And you can just kind of fight the system until it eventually breaks.
That's what I was keep on pressing the buttons furiously until it glitches kind of through a rock. Yeah, I would agree on that for sure. It's probably the main flaw of the game is that you do sometimes just get caught on stuff for no apparent reason. I remember one time I was like exploring and I kind of got a bit stuck behind a box. It's like, right, if I'm not supposed to go behind this box, don't let me behind this box.
Oh, you get caught on the environment quite a lot.
You do. That would be my main concern with the game is you do definitely get caught a bit.
So, like, I know once you get really into the climbing and if the story's not really for you, it's very much a game where you can kind of turn your brain off a little bit and just like climb or listen to a podcast.
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay.
It's like there's not like an action heavy game or like a timing heavy game. It's more about conserving your stamina and making sure you're thinking about your movements and stuff.
It's a very like relaxing kind of meditative game. You do have to there's a certain level of challenge to it where you have to kind of think of what's the path, what's the struggle here, how do I overcome it? But it's pretty surface level stuff for the most part. So yeah, you could definitely stick on a podcast and
I would say so. Stick on the indie game culture podcast, maybe.
If that's your thing, you know. So yeah, that's what I thought of Jusant. I thought it was I expected maybe just a touch more, but it's still very, very good. So
I would say it probably met my expectations because I think I did have worries about it being repetitive. I'm just kind of glad that it's not. So I wasn't expecting it to be Game of the Year or anything. I was expecting it to be fun and relaxing, and that's what I found it. So
yeah, well, I was worried that I was well off base because whenever it initially came out, it was sitting at Metacritic scores of like 87 and 86. I was like, ooh, I'm off the pace here, but it came down to a little bit. I'm still off the pace.
I haven't finished yet. At the moment, I'd probably give it somewhere between a 7.5 and an 8.
Yeah, well, I gave it a 7, so it's not as
I think that's fair. Like, yeah.
So yeah, there was that. Then I played a game that Melika recommended to me, and I said, no, that's not for me, but it turns out it actually is for me. I played Suitors.
I knew you'd like it.
Yeah, I weirdly liked it because it seems like something from the narrative side of it, and it just didn't seem like something that would click with me, but it actually did. So basically what this game is, you playing as Jala as she goes back to her hometown, like in some backwater American town, and she has to basically play like a dating sim in reverse, where she's returning to this town where she's caused heartbreak everywhere, and instead of like trying to go out with all these people, she's trying to make amends and rekindle relationships with them. So it's interesting how they flipped on its head like that. But she also has to engage in these like heart-to-hearts or fend off all of these like suitors that have been sent by her like Indian grandmother like across the water. She has to fend them off through this turn-based combat.
That's amazing. I haven't actually played it yet, but I'm really looking forward to it.
It is very interesting in the way that they put so many different ideas together, and it all works relatively well.
You mentioned on Slack that you weren't that keen on the skateboarding side of it.
Yeah, so
I liked it when I played it. I suppose you've got a much higher bar for skateboarding games than I would.
I do, but I mean, I'm open to all kinds. So the thing that I liked about the skating, it's kind of, I liked it and I didn't like it. Whenever you are just kind of getting around and using it as a form of traversal to get from A to B, I have no problems with it whatsoever.
That's what I was mainly doing at the preview for it.
Yeah, so whenever I kind of compared it a little bit to Bomb Rush Cyberpunk, it really strips down the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater thing. So it's not about getting combos. It's more about just kind of keeping the run going, and it's like having a flow state. And everything is like stripped down, so it's super, super accessible. But that's fine. I have no issue with that whatsoever. It is whenever it puts skating challenges in front of you in a Tony Hawk's Pro Skater kind of format that you see how crap the mechanics actually are, and they're not fit for purpose whenever you're actually having to do things in like a very meticulous and planned way.
Right.
So there are some of the challenges that make sense, like, for example, there's like a floor's lava sort of thing where they make the whole park water and you have to kind of platform from place to place. They aren't too bad.
That sounds quite fun.
Yeah, and then there are a few that are kind of like scavenger hunts where you have to find things around the area. That's okay. And there are ones where you kind of have to hit lines in kind of like in Tony Hawk's, if you ever played like Combo or Skate and collect the letters, same sort of thing.
Yeah.
But then as you progress through the challenges, you get to ones where they want you to put in these really, really precise inputs. And I say that having played...
I was like, you play a lot of precise ones.
Like if you've played Session Skate Sim, it is about as meticulous as it gets, where you have to work super hard just to do a very basic thing. So I have all the time in the world for that. But these skate mechanics ask you to do these really meticulous things that aren't consistent. They don't always happen if you put the inputs in properly. They give you really tiny platforms in which to do them. The jumping kind of works on not tank controls, but you kind of, if you want to jump diagonally, it jumps a set amount in that direction rather than you having full control over it. So it's kind of awkward if you want to do something very precise. And just generally, as the scores, or not as the challenges got harder and harder, I just got more and more frustrated because I knew I had the ability to do it. It just would not let me do it, to the point where there was a challenge. It's not one of the last ones, but it's like one of the ones where you're getting up there towards the end. And I got #1 in the world, globally ranked. And
wow.
Wait, and really? That's incredible. I mean...
That's impressive, dude.
Yeah, but I don't think...
As if it's nothing. That's crazy. That's so impressive.
Well, thank you. But the point I was trying to make is I did that, but I only got a B rank in that challenge.
What? But then... So you're the best in the world and only got a B rank.
This is my point.
Okay, yeah, that is insane. That is insane. Was this like day 1 or something?
No, I played it about maybe 3-4 days after it came out.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Congrats, though.
Yeah.
I don't know how much they're expecting from their players, but congrats.
It just makes me think, like, if they're doing that in testing, either someone's ludicrously good at the game they've built, or they've just decided, you know what, we'll just make it really hard and see what happens. Thankfully enough, the trophy to get the skate challenges only requires you to get top rank in like 15 out of like 25 of them, so you can pick and choose a little bit.
You can still get all your achievements.
But it was like
trophies. Stupid PlayStation.
But yeah, that was the irritating side of it. I didn't like the skateboarding whenever it asked me to do something meticulous. But traversal, it's fun, and it's just a way to keep things engaging from like quest to quest or whatever. So I have no problems with the skating in principle, just not like that. But everything else within the game, really fun. So it does a lot of its kind of gameplay through quick time events. Now, and if you hear that, you immediately think, oh, that's a bad thing. But it isn't necessarily a bad thing if it's done well. And up until about the late game, it doesn't become like a troublesome, boring trait of the game. Once you get to the end, you're like, okay, I've kind of had enough of the quick time events. But for about 80% of the way, you're like, it's allowing me and it's facilitating me to do these things that I could never do in traditional gameplay. It just makes me look cool and feel cool. And that's what a quick time event's for. I always said, like, Kingdom Hearts into Kingdom Hearts 2, whenever they added the action commands, it made the game so much better, but they are just quick time events. So there is a space in my heart for these things, and it does it relatively well to a point. So what you'll initially do in the turn-based combat is you will use emotional triggers. So you will either like make them first for you, or you will make them shocked, or you will make them enraged, and this will make them vulnerable. And then you can do these like heavy hitting attacks with quick time events to whittle down their HP. It's very boiled down turn-based JRPG combat. So if you're someone that really doesn't like the strategy and the like party organization of JRPGs, this is exactly the thing that you want to go for, because it takes all the aggro and the stress away and just lets you have the fun. And then you can also like summon people that you meet within the game, like summon your mum to hit them with like a slipper or something. So
that's amazing.
It's handled really well. The main trait that I found they do for literally the vast majority of the game is they just take these little subgenres and they strip them down for parts and give you like a really boiled down version of what it basically is. So if it's a rhythm game, it's exactly what you think it would be. If it's a turn-based combat thing, it just takes away all of the nuance and just gives you the bare bones. But it works really, really well because there's so many ideas that it feels like there's so much variety there that you could never get bored. You will eventually get bored at the end, but it's pretty cool. Oh, and also, if you like something like Venba, this is relatively similar in a lot of ways because it has South Asian roots in the sense that you're playing and you have these family ties that you need to kind of get through and family feuds with your like South Asian heritage, and you've got the Indian grandmother that's trying to find you a partner and you've disappointed her because you're going around making out with everybody and all that, and you've got those general struggles. So it represents South Asia, and it's something that doesn't really happen in games an awful lot, so it's nice to see. And then also, if you like the cooking mini games of Venba, there is more cooking mini games.
I do like a good cooking mini game. When I was a kid, I loved Cooking Mama so much.
Yeah, well, this one actually feels a lot more Cooking Mama than Venba.
Excellent. I was gonna say Venba doesn't feel like Cooking Mama very much, but like, that was like peak gaming right there.
Yes, it's still not quite there because there isn't like different actions that you can do. It's purely through quick time events, but it's still it's a bit more chaotic and fun. So.
Yeah, that sounds better. I can't like. I hated cracking the eggs in Cooking Mama. It was like so. The sensitivity on the controller just wasn't there for what they wanted. So it was either smash it or just do the tiniest crack on the egg. It was so hard to get the perfect in between.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh yeah, I was saying I always lean towards like overcooked style of cooking, where it's just chaotic fun, where you're just throwing food on the floor at your friends and just like making floor sandwiches, just and then serving, getting a 5 stars. Like, wow, I did so good.
There we go.
Not allowed band in my house. Sorry, just not allowed.
Oh,
causes too much pain and stress. But yeah, that's Thirsty Suitors. I would recommend it. It's one that it kind of has something for everybody. So if you want something that doesn't really offer an awful lot of challenge, just offers a lot of fun, and it is also, I would say, a really unapologetically Gen Z modern sort of game that kind of caters like all sorts of creeds and cultures and genders and sexualities, and makes it seem like it's just a normal thing that run-of-the-mill stuff, which is great.
Yeah.
If you want to see yourself represented in a game, which is something that doesn't happen very much for you, you'll probably be represented in this game. So,
are there any Hijabi characters?
Not to the point where I know. Actually, yes, there is one. I think it's like there is a little sister of someone that you used to date, and I think that family is, as far as I know.
Excellent. It's so rare that I see a hijabi in a game. I'm actually so excited.
Yeah, I think that's the only one I can think of. They try and represent everybody, to be honest.
Yeah.
So it's very well done. So yeah, there's that.
Any others you played?
Yeah, so I played. This is just a really quick one. I played Road Bustle. I was
Road
on.
Bustle.
Yeah, so I was on 74 platinums, and this one is literally a 5-minute
You want to
platinum
get
game.
you're
Oh.
75.
If you've played Frogger, it's basically Frogger.
Yeah, I was gonna
So,
say it looks
Okay.
very simple. 79 pence.
yeah, I was. I always play a crappy game as my milestone one. That is my 75th one. So,
I love that.
and I've got My Name Is Mayo
Oh.
2 for my 100th.
No.
That's wonderful. Yes.
I'm saving it.
Oh, dude.
It gets to be number 100 because it's fantastic.
So you've only platinum 75 games, but you do like 10 a month.
How many have I got this year? I started this year on like 32.
I was gonna say you've done loads this year.
Yeah, I think I'm approaching like mid 30, maybe 50. So we're getting there.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm going to make a push for 50 because the goal was only really to get one a month.
Yeah.
So
No,
I
you've
surpassed that.
definitely exceeded that.
Yeah. So I played that one, got the platinum. There's nothing more to say about it. Like there's no
Was it
substance
as boring
to
as
that
it
game.
looks?
It didn't get a chance to be boring because I done it in 5 minutes. So
Fair enough.
literally no substance.
How many
this one-
trophies are there for it? Is it just like cross to the other side of the road? Congrats,
Oh, no.
it's your one trophy.
No, it gives you like a trophy every like 500 meters. It's actually
okay.
it's very generous, to be honest. But yeah, this is one that I haven't played, but I was in the room engaging with it the whole time, so I feel like I have played it. So Ella decided she wanted to play Frog Detective. So-
I've been playing that. I completely forgot I've been playing that. Yes. I knew I missed one game and I couldn't remember what it is. What do you think of it?
I think it's fun. I like it.
No, it's I don't understand why it's got such high ratings on Metacritic. I feel like am I missing something here? It is. I've only played the first 2 mysteries so far, but like I played the first one. I was like, wait, is that it? Is that the entire first mystery? It was like 40 minutes, if that. I thought, okay, well maybe that's just like to get you into the game. I also played the second one. But bearing in mind, there's only 3 in total, and that one took like 45 minutes as well. I'm like, the second one was better than the first because it's got one of my least favorite type of mechanics, which is a fetch quest that is literally just talking. I can deal with fetch quests when there's some interacting, but it is literally just talk to that character, who they'll give you this, talk to the other character. You're not doing anything.
No.
And like I can even forgive the terrible graphics because they don't try and pretend that they're not terrible graphics. This is very much I spent 5 minutes building something in Unity. Like I don't have an issue with that because it was never pretending to be something more. Like even the writing, it's like looks like someone's done it in Microsoft Paint.
But
to
do
write
you know
the
what?
doors.
I take umbrage with that because Unity games, the rubbery Unity games, they look a certain way. Frog Detective stands out because it's that bad.
Well, that's what I mean. It's like it's fair. Like that's what I mean. It's deliberately bad. So I don't
Yeah.
actually have an issue with it because it's like, you know what? They're not trying. They've gone for the bad. They've leaned into it. I can accept that. What I don't understand is everyone in the Metacritic praising like the writing and the storytelling. It's not done well. Like it overdoes the humor. Like it will have a semi-funny joke and then just really drive it into the ground so that it's not funny anymore. Like the thing.
What makes
when-
it funny?
No, because like for example, when you first do it, it's like the guy asks for he said he wants to put his number 1 detective on it. It's like, but Lobster Cop wasn't available. That's funny, but then your character's like, yes, Lobster Cop is a better detective than me. It's like, isn't that right? Yes, I accept being only the number 2 detective. It's like too much.
That's
You've
funny.
overdone the joke.
Oh, the overkill is just
It's-
wonderful.
No,
Yeah,
it just
that's
makes
what makes it good.
no, because it takes ages for it to get on the screen. It's like, hey, too much back and forth. It's like, let me do something. Let me move already. No, I could not get. I really wanted to enjoy it. I liked the dumb look of it. I thought it looked cute in a stupid way, and I could get behind that. But I just found it too boring. It's like, who is the target audience? Because if it's children, they're gonna get bored from the fact that they're not doing anything. And if it's adults, give us something to do. Like none of it made sense to me. And also, the mysteries are so easily solvable. And it's all so linear. Like, for example, the second mystery I solved before I even entered the town. They explained the case. I was like, well, yeah, it's going to be this person. And then it was that person. It was so obvious. Before I'd even met one of the characters, I knew exactly who it was going to be from the description of the case over the phone.
I just want to say something. I really didn't expect this level of cynicism and like
I know,
harsh comments about this game.
I know
from you.
it's I surprised myself. I was really looking forward to it. I sat down and played the first one. I was like, this is one of the worst games I've ever played. It was like then I looked on Metacritic. Everyone was giving it like really high praise. I'm like, have I gone crazy here? Okay, I'll give the second one a 10. Now, to be fair, I liked the part in the second mystery where you're looking for the lost pies because you were doing something. That part was okay. Everything else was bad.
It's not about doing anything. It's just a silly little irreverent game.
Oh, but then it's got to be funnier. It's too boring for me.
It's really funny. It's actually really funny.
I like I said, I like how bad the art is. That's kind of, I can get behind that. And I like that sometimes they just stick like photos in there. Like when you look in plants and sometimes it's like a caterpillar with like a human face, like a really poorly drawn caterpillar with like a photo of someone's face. That's funny. I like that. I can get behind that. I like how pointless the magnifying glass is as well. I like that you've got this magnifying glass you actively have to pick up and you do not need to use it at any point. It very slightly magnifies things so that it distorts them and makes them look very bigger in the middle. That's funny. I like that. That's a clever idea. But no, everything else.
I really think you're splitting hairs, if I'm being honest.
I'm giving it. These are the only things I can find to give compliments for, Cal. This isn't me nitpicking at it. This is me actively trying to find saving graces for it. It is not a good game, and I don't understand why everyone thinks it is. It confuses me. I feel like this is a mass prank that is being played on me.
Okay. Well,
I feel like all the gaming reviewers have conspired to like prank the public into thinking that this is a good game when it is not a good game.
Well, I must be in on it because I really liked it.
I think you were in on it. I think this is probably the first time that you've liked a cute, dumb game that I haven't.
Yeah, it feels good.
It feels unnatural.
Oh, I've never been on the light side of this conversation. It's fun. You're really harshing the vibes and you need to stop it. But yeah, she's only played 2 out of 3. Oh, actually, she played the start of the third one, so I've seen that as well.
Yeah.
And I've really enjoyed it. I think the writing's really cute and fun. I like that the game is utterly pointless and there's no sort of mechanic or gameplay loop to the game outside of just following a plot from start to finish.
I have no patience for flex quests is my issue.
I do agree. I don't really know what the target audience is because it's not for children and it's not for adults, but I really like that as well. It seems to me like it's just a giant meme and I really enjoy it.
That's what it is. It feels like a meme that I'm not in on the joke.
Yes, but that's self-imposed. You could have been in on the joke.
I don't want to be. I want to have a fun gaming experience. I don't want to waste hours of my life playing a game that isn't fun. But to be honest, I've started it, and because the achievement's so easy to get, I kind of want to finish it just so I can get all of them.
Now tell me this, you've played the second one. Did you enjoy putting stickers on your notebook?
Yeah, I did like putting the stickers on.
Yeah, I knew you would.
But that's another thing. But I couldn't reorient the stickers. I wanted to reorient them.
You expect too much.
And I wanted multiple of different stickers. That's what I wanted. And I wanted to be able to change the color of the notebook. So I did like it, but having played the amazing Sticky Business and creating my own stickers, it just wasn't as exciting.
I want to point out that your expectations of this game is very high.
I know.
This was a game that was, if you know the story of Frog Detective, the game was literally made as part of a like indie initiative from Superhot, which is an indie company in of itself. So the budget was very, very small.
Yeah, if you told me it had no budget and was just a hobby project, I would not question that.
I mean, it basically was.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I don't. That's why I feel kind of bad being bad about it, because like I can appreciate that the developers wanted to make a game and they did technically, but it wasn't fun, and it wasn't really a game. It was a just walk and talk and do nothing, and it was.
What have I told you? In the third one, you get a scooter and you can scoot around.
Ooh. Talk to me more about these movement mechanics.
Rigid.
Doesn't move smoothly.
Super rigid.
Yeah, that's what I thought it might
be. But they're there. They tried something.
You know what? I will try the scooter in the third game and I will let you know my thoughts next time.
I really look forward to hearing your thoughts on the rest of Frog Detective. I really do.
I'm pretty interested in this now too. It looks like it's short hike, but you're a frog instead of a bird.
No. A short hike is they could not be further.
A short
from
hike
each
has
other.
substance.
Short hike is good. A short hike is a good, solid game. Oh my god.
The lack of substance does not bring down Frog Detective.
There is no gameplay. The writing is like I said, it over explains the jokes too much. I cannot agree with that. It's like if you've got something funny, let it be funny on its own. That's what I'm saying.
I kind of want to get in on the positive reviews of this game now. I want to be in on the joke.
Yeah, you play it. You play it as well. Although to be fair, don't they try and charge something ridiculous, like £15 for the thing or something, or like £20 or something?
Yeah,
it's a lot more than it should be. It should be 99p per game. That is the kind of quality you get.
It's like
they were
$3
individually
now.
priced. Yeah, they were individually priced at like £4. So.
Oh, that's
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna buy the entire collection, that's fair enough. But if you're just buying one of them, do not get the first one.
The first one is very short.
It's very short and very bad. You don't even get to look for lost pies, or have a sticker book, notebook with stickers. That's another thing. I didn't like how pointless it was with the suspect question mark thing in the notebook. Why let me decide who's a suspect and then just tell me who the suspect is without letting me guess? Like, what was the point of it?
It doesn't need to be a point.
Oh, it does. It does need to be.
Do you want me to frustrate you one more time?
Yeah, go for it.
I recently done a listicle on the best detective games of all time, and I stuck it in at
If you
the end.
put False Detective there, I'll be very mad.
I stuck it in at the end for fun.
Oh my god, why are you like this?
Because do you know what? It's fun. There's not a lot of deduction that goes
Where's
on.
your journalistic integrity, Cal?
In the bin. In the bin.
Best
Okay.
means best.
I'm aware. That's why it's there. But I'm going to move on because I can't take it anymore, quite frankly. The last one that I played, and I played it today because Sam Brace from Decibel gave me a second code because he's very nice, and anytime that I want any of his, quite frankly, selection of awful games, occasionally he has a nice one that he can promote, and I take it from him. I played a little bit of Cuisineer, which we've been chatting about for a couple of weeks now, which is...
Oh yeah, I remember mentioning that one.
Yeah, the restaurant manager turned like Hades hack and slash, Cult of the Lamb hack
What
and slash.
was it like?
It's actually really good. I quite like it.
Yeah?
So from the restaurant side of things, essentially you are going out doing quests for people, improving your gear so you can go out and crusade. But the difference between this one and Cult of the Lamb, let's say, is that it's much more geared towards you building up your empire, and it's more geared towards like decorating and cutesiness rather than the crusade style of things and story progression. There isn't an awful lot of story progression. I've only played like the first 2 hours of it, so I may be shocked and find that there is a lot more, but it feels like it's more geared towards you building up your restaurant and make it into the finest establishment that you possibly can and decorating it so that it's pretty and getting all the menu items so that you can build this fantastic place in the town. It's fun and it's cute and I like it. I can't really speak an awful lot more on it because I've only played the first few hours of it, but it does have that kind of quintessential one more day vibe to it. And that's all you really look for in games like that.
Absolutely, yeah.
And that's all I can really say about it for now. I kind of snuck it in there because I was I felt really guilty bringing along Frog Detective because I didn't play it, but you know, obviously that was very worthwhile bringing it along. I can mention this as well just because it's ate up quite a lot of my time. I've been playing Alan Wake 2 as well. And it's very good. It's very good. Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm going to review it because I think too much time has passed, to be honest. Because
when did it actually?
It was last month, so it's been at least over a week now. I've just been bogged down with like indie
27th
reviews.
October.
Yeah, I've been bogged down, didn't get a chance, so it might just be for me. So that's fine.
That's
but
kind of good in a way. It's always nice when you get to play a game just to play a game.
Yeah.
Like I nearly decided to do a review for Jusant for my own site, but then I was like, you know what? I'm just going to play it and enjoy it.
Sometimes that's the way to go, and I think Alan Wake, I'm really appreciating that I'm kind of savoring it and playing it in short bursts.
Well, that's the thing. I didn't want to rush it.
Mostly because it is genuinely very spooky, so it's very hard to play in like big sessions. Pardon me, but
you get scared.
Yeah, but not easily. it's a very, very strong horror game.
I'm glad I'm not playing it.
I would say, aside from, and like this is a big statement, aside from Silent Hill 2, it is probably the most complete horror media that I've ever played.
Wow, that's big from you. You've played a lot.
Yeah, it's not like my be all and end all genre, but I played quite a lot of horror
So
games.
you've got a lot of experience in it, though.
Yeah,
Wow, fair play.
like it's very hard for me to compare that one. Like Dead Space would be the other one I would put in that bracket, but they're the kind of chalk and cheese in a lot of ways, so hard to compare them. But like it's a very, very strong psychological horror. Brings a lot of like real world FMV into it in a really cool way.
Oh, I love that kind of stuff.
And it's also part of a like not cinematic universe, but gaming universe through Remedy. So you get a lot of stuff from Control, and it's very, very good.
That's kind of interesting to hear. I just thought about a game where you fight monsters with a flashlight, and that's
that was what
Alan
Wake from 2010 was like. I wouldn't say it was an incredibly strong game. It was competent enough. I thought it was pretty cool. The story was probably the best part of it, but it wasn't like an amazing horror game. It was kind of like not even talk of game of the year that year. Just kind of like one of those ones that people gave a passing mention to, but this one is leaps and bounds, and you don't have to have played the first one to play the second.
All right, excellent.
So
I feel like I just would have gone bored of the first one, but this sounds like kind of interesting. Like just a horror game next to make you feel a little bit more frightened.
Yeah, it's
crazy. I hate because I've been watching Supernatural, and a few of the episodes have been quite scary. It's like, oh.
Like the earlier seasons where it was actually kind of scary, or
I'm on season 5 now. I'm on season 5 because season 1 was very scary. 2, 3, and 4 weren't bad, but now season 5 is getting a bit scary again. And I've been watching them. It's getting dark outside real early, and I'm like, oh, I'm glad I got my blanket to cuddle. This is quite scary.
Well, this is it. I thought it would be a bit rich of me to do a review for this game and not be kind of biased, because I exclusively play games basically at like midnight onwards, because that's the period I get to play them. So I'm playing it with headphones on in the dark in the middle of the night.
No.
So
yeah, that does definitely make it scarier.
That's the worst. Also playing in your house alone too, and it's like you hear a door creak, and it's like the air conditioning or something. It's just like blowing it open. You're like, oh no, I'm not alone.
No, well, I have Ella beside me, but like she's
good.
sleeping, so
at least you know if you get scared, she's there.
No, I have to be incredibly muted, because if I like go and wake her up, she will
get mad at you.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I have to internalize all my fear. It's great.
Aww.
But yeah, that's all the games that I have been playing, plus a little AAA for funsies. Any others, guys?
I mean, I'm happy to jump in because we said 2 of mine already. So I also played a tiny sticker tale as recommended by JT, and he was right. I loved it. It was adorable. So basically, you're in this world, and it's kind of set out in like a grid formation, but you can't see all of it at the start. A lot of it's grayed out, and you can own each level. Well, not level, but like it's got. Each screen is its own separate area, and once you've been to a screen, it will be added to the map on the grid. So you can't see areas you haven't been to yet, but you can sort of see how the ones you have been to connect to each other, because they're not all interconnected. And as you go through the environment, pretty much all of the environmental assets are stickers that you can pick up with your magical sticker book and moved on to different screens. And you need to put things in the right place to kind of solve puzzles and complete quests for people, and it's just really cute the way it's done. There's loads of different characters you can meet and you can talk to. You peel a sticker from one screen, move it to another. There's one guy who's got like a sawmill, so what you can do is like peel different types of trees from around the world, take them to him, and it'll make you different furniture depending on what tree you give him. And you've got like your own little tent that you can decorate with all the items he gives you. And yeah, it's really cute. Like, it's not perfect, but for what it is, which is just like a short, quick, fun game with cute stickers, it's ideal. I loved it. I very much enjoyed it. I think 3 hours, because I was gonna say maybe 4, but a lot of that was just me pausing to take notes. That doesn't really count. So yeah, I reckon you could fully complete it in 3 hours, because it's got the main story, does most of what you need, and it's about maybe half an hour, 45 minutes for the extra content at the end. But yeah, it's just done really cute. It's done really well. There's lots of like going around, finding things, remembering what you've seen, because it's a case of like some things you'll need certain tools, which are also stickers, so you can take these tools with you. And later on in the game, if you like, say you really need a sticker to progress through the game, you can check in your sticker book to see the location of that sticker, And yeah, because like when I first started playing, I was like, there's no map. What am I going to do? But then you get given a map, and it's like, oh no, I'm going to need this sticker to go here, but I can't remember where I left it. It's like you can go in the sticker book and say it's on this screen. So yeah, it's really cleverly thought out. It's done really well on that matter.
Yeah, it very much looked up your alley.
Yeah.
Would you say that it is derivative of Frog Detective 2's notebook sticker book section?
I'm not going to dignify that with a response.
I'm also really curious. The way you're describing it, it kind of sounded like Chicory: A Colorful Tale, where that's a game where like the world is whited out and you're filling it in with a
but
paintbrush.
the difference is that the world is fully developed, but you can move the stickers around, but it's still fully colorful and fully developed from the start. And like you're kind of limited by the space on each screen to how many stickers you can put there. So you can like, I don't know, swap the trees around or swap items around. But for the most part, like the customization of the world is more to complete quests and puzzles rather than anything else. Like you can decorate it a bit more, but it doesn't make much of a difference, which is actually one of my only gripes, is that on the sort of like Nintendo Switch eShop page, one of the things it says about the games is like there's loads of stickers, which gives it loads of replayability. There is no replayability. It's a puzzle game. Once you've done it, you know the answers to puzzles, you're done. Like putting a few different stickers in different places does not give that replayability at all. So yeah, that is the one thing I'll say about it, is where it says there's replayability, there isn't, but it's still a good game to have that experience in the first place anyway. So that doesn't really bother me that much.
So is it the best sticker game you've played this year ahead of Sticky Business?
I think so. I think it is, because there's that adventure side to it. Like, I liked making my stickers in Sticky Business, don't get me wrong, but Sticky Business after a while did start to feel a bit repetitive, whereas Tiny Stickertail, it felt new and exciting right through to the end. So, but then again, actually, it's kind of an unfair balance there, because I played a Tiny Stickertail for like 3 hours and I put like 10 hours into Sticky Business. See, Sticky Business, because I never play on Steam, but like if it was on the Xbox, I would be playing way more on that. But even on Steam, it's just like anytime it's like, you know what, I've got half an hour to kill, I can make some stickers. So it's one of those games you just kind of play for a little bit, like 1 or 2 in-game days, just to make some new stickers, just to layer them out. But yeah, there was that one. And then I also so for Indie Game Culture, I recently made a guide for the best puzzle games of all time. And whilst I was researching for that, I was like, there were some that I didn't make the list, but I still wanted to check out. And one of them I actually had that I bought ages ago, just never got around to playing, which was Agent A Puzzle Detective. And it's like this really, I think it's like £3, something like that I paid for it. It's like this really small game, puzzle game, where you play as like a secret agent solving a mystery. It's like a point and click escape room type puzzle detective adventure, and I really liked it. Like it was very kind of generic for it's very much a case. It doesn't push the boat in any kind of, oh, I've never seen this kind of gameplay before, but it's just a very well-rounded, clear point and click solve puzzle kind of game, and it was brilliant. I liked that you go through the different areas, there's like different chapters in it, and you had to try and stop this evil agent. Like it was pretty obvious early on who the real villain was. Like there's like supposed to be like this twist reveal, but like for me it wasn't a twist. It was like, oh yeah, that person's going to be the villain then. But other than that, like I did really enjoy it. I liked the puzzle aspects to it. It made me feel smart. I think I had to use the walkthrough like 3 times for the entire game, which, given that there's probably at least a good 150 different interactions in the game, I'll take that any day. So yeah, but like I really liked the way you had to like really pay attention to your environment to figure out the solutions and think, hang on, this looks oddly familiar to something I saw in this other room, and you have to like go back to the other room and go to, and it's like, yes, I knew it, and just remembering things. There is a lot of, if your memory isn't great, I would recommend taking plenty of screenshots, because there is kind of lots of remembering to do. But the way I was playing was like, you know what, if I was actually there, I wouldn't have a screenshot thing. So I'm going to play as if I was a detective. So I wasn't allowing my screenshots, which did mean a lot of going back and forth if I forgot stuff on the way. Because there was this one time, there was like a 10 by 10 grid, and you had to remember the locations of certain lights that were supposed to be lit up on this grid. So I did have a couple of trips back to remember all the light locations for that. But yeah, no, it was really cool. I liked the different areas. I liked how you had to really use your brain and think about the environment. And yeah, overall, just a really solid, quick. I'm trying to think how long, maybe 4 hours. It's another very short one, but yeah, a solid one. If you pick it up on sale, like I said, it's about 2 or 3 quid. Definitely worth a play.
Nice,
excellent.
And then, other than that, I played a bit more Sea of Stars. Now, I can't really talk about it without delving into spoiler detective territory at this point, because I've got like pretty far in now. I've defeated the first main big boss. I think Cal will know where I'm at.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've gone to the next part of the story, and that's sort of the start of that next part now. I'm not sure how much is left, but yeah, I think quite a lot. To be honest,
So
I'm about 20 hours in, 25.
You thought the game was ending, and then you discovered a
Oh,
whole
no,
new map.
I knew the game wasn't ending because you said it was like 50 hours and I was only like 20, 22 hours in.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, there's definitely more happening here. But yeah, no, it's one of those games that, like, because I know it's so long, I'm not trying to like finish it before starting other things. So when things get released, I put Sea of Stars down and then do the other things and then come back to it. So I think because I've been playing lots of other things, because the other thing I've been playing a lot is Among Us. And I know I spoke about that last time, but as I was playing through the lobbies, I kept on finding this one lobby with like these really great players, and turned out they had a Discord server and they invited me to join. And I've been playing like hours a day with them, and it's the best. They're so friendly and lovely. Because I joined a couple of days before my birthday, and then on my birthday they sent me an e-card that they'd all signed, and it was like the cutest thing. It made me feel so happy. And then and yeah, I just play it all the time, and it's so fun. It's the difference between playing Among Us with people who know what they are doing compared to just random idiots saying garbage theories. It's a completely different game, and I love it.
Am I right in saying there's like a new update? Like
Yes. Oh my gosh, yes. How did I forget that? Yeah, we got a new map. We got the fungal, which is a jungle with fungus in it, and it's brilliant. It's like it's basically the theory for that one. Well, not theory, the like law for that is that the Skeld, which is the spaceship from the very first Among Us map, has like crash landed on the island, and so there's like different bits and pieces of the ship scattered throughout the island. So some of the rooms you see in this new area are less like parts of the old ship, and then there's like some completely brand new areas. There's a zip line, which is super cool. It's because it's like kind of like a mountain type part of the island. So you have to take a zip line from the beach, or you can go around and climb up ladders. There's like this jungle full of mushrooms, which like if you walk through them, it creates this purple smoke that hides everyone inside it, so you're temporarily invisible. There's a new sabotage, which is really cool, called Mushroom Mix-Up, which basically the imposter can call it, and then for 10 seconds, literally every player gets shapeshifted into a completely random skin and accessories, and you can't see any names above their head. So basically, in that time, the imposter can kill absolutely anyone, and as long as they can vent away without getting caught, they are home and dry, because there is no way of proving where absolutely anyone is. Like, you can't even clear people say, oh yeah, that person was next to me, because you do not know who's next to you unless you act next to them when the sabotage is first called. So it's absolutely fantastic for timing it as an imposter. It's one of the only maps I'm actually good at being imposter on, because it's one of the maps where I've not to brag or anything, but if you go to Google Among Us the Fungal Task Guide, my site comes up first, because I am the foremost expert on exactly what's going there. So I know all the task locations, how to do them, which ones are commons, which ones are shorts, which ones are longs. So when I'm in the lobby, I can pay attention to how many of different tasks. So I'm never going to get caught by doing a fake task. But if I'm a crew, I can catch others doing fake tasks. I'm like, no, that's a common. We don't have collect examples. We've got find stick. There's so many new tasks. It's great. I love it. Big fan of this new map. I
was just going to like not challenge you on that, but like just ask, because I haven't engaged with it like most people haven't since like 2020. So you say like it's another map. I had the impression that it was just the one map for the longest amount of time.
No. It's been so basically, I think when it was very first released, it was just a Skeld. Very soon after, they released Mirror HQ and Polar. So back when it was like really big in like 2020, 2021, they had the 3 maps. Then I think it was tail end of 2021, they released the Airship, which is just huge. I never liked the Airship. It is way too big. It's not really fun because it's so easy for the imposters to kill without being seen. And then the Fungal is the latest new map since the Airship was released in 2021. So there's 5 total now. But yeah, I don't like Mirror HQ because I feel like it's a bit too linear, because you kind of like go all the way around. And Polus, again, it's a bit too big and spaced out for me. The Airship is big and cramped weirdly at the same time, so I was never a fan of that. But the Fungal, I love it. So apart from the Skeld, which is OG, always holds my heart, Fungal definitely close second. I really enjoy it. I was very happy because like I was nervous when they announced the new map, because I haven't really enjoyed any of the other new maps. But yeah, this one's a really good one.
I always thought it was nice that Among Us, after like coming out in 2018 to no appeal, got its flowers, but I didn't know there was like still a huge player base for it now.
I wouldn't say it's huge. It's definitely a lot smaller than it used to be, because it used to be really easy to find a lobby. Like, you'd go in and there'd be like 30, 40 different lobbies to choose from, whereas now trying to find a lobby is very difficult. There's only like sort of 2 or 3 at a time, and if you want one with the right settings, just gonna have to wait until new ones constantly refreshing, especially because you can find lobbies with like different amounts of imposters, the different maps. So that's another reason why I'm very glad I've got my Discord server, because they just post like the lobby code. They ping the server when the new lobby's starting, so I can actually find a game all the time. But yeah, it was rough until I was in this server, not gonna lie. But yeah, no, it's I really like the new map. It's going strong.
I wanted to ask if you'd heard of Goose Goose Duck.
Goose Duck?
Yeah, that's another Among Us type game that's come out. I actually think it's a little bit better than Among Us because there's different ways to win. Like, there's one person has the role of the dodo, and their role is to get voted out. So they want to do suspicious
That just
things,
sounds like the Tanner and Werewolf.
It might be. I just thought like it's the animations are a little bit more polished than Among Us, and I don't know, just like there's some bits.
I'm gonna Google it. I hadn't heard of Goose Goose Duck.
Yeah, it's there's other roles like someone who can be a regular person. They can kill one other person if they think they're the imposter, or an imposter.
This just sounds like it's a game based on the board game Ultimate Werewolf, because that role you described is the hunter from Werewolf.
Well, it might be. I haven't played that game to be sure, but
I get to, because I'm in the board game society at my uni, so we play Werewolf pretty much every week, and there's like all these different roles, and the ones you're describing sound very similar. Okay. We've actually got a role called the Goose that we made, that someone in my group like made up and stuff, because it takes the Tanner role. Basically, the Goose, they want to get eliminated, and if they get eliminated, they can just choose any random role on the board and just kill that person instantly.
Was there one role where it's like the lovers, where one person can be
That's
an imposter?
Cupid.
Oh, that's a thing. Oh, so it might just be that game.
Literally everything you're describing is Werewolf. It sounds like they just looked at Werewolf like, how can we make this a video game?
Well, I don't know. I've gravitated more towards that than Among Us. I just feel like the visuals
I'll have to
are
check it out.
more
It does sound
gratifying.
fun.
It's great.
Does it have a big player base?
I think it's actually has a growing player base. Like it's
Is it available on mobiles? Is the big question.
It's completely. Well, actually, I don't know, but it's free, so you can try it out on PC if you want.
I'm gonna go on my little app store, see if it's on there, because that's it. I only play Among Us on my phone. I don't play on my PC because my PC is garbage, as you guys know from having to wait for me every time we record the podcast. But yeah, that's pretty much. I feel like of course I've played 2 other games. It's the ones I already talked about with Cal. Okay, good. That's me done for games. JT.
All right, I've got a couple. I've gotten to review 2 games recently. One of them, is the one that I think you're talking about, Melika, Headbangers, Rythym Royale. And
oh yeah, what did you think of it?
It's been strange. Some parts are really clever. Like it's a rhythm game based around like you have 30 other pigeons and you're all competing in these just strange mini games where like one of them is a FPS piano shooter where you have to shoot the piano keys as they're like moving across. Or there's a couple of matching music. Like they show different pigeons that are decorated as like one's looks like a disco dancer, one is playing like French, like Polish, I don't know, old music, and it's like you have to tell like, okay, what's the right music? Or some of them are clever though, because like they'll combine the musics together, so it's like they have to like figure out what styles. So I was like, oh, that's actually really smart. And
are they 30 real people, or like does it fill in with CPU?
Well, I just played against AI bots just because the game hadn't come out yet. Although they have real people now, so
that's good that they let you play against CPU if there's not enough people, because that's always the issue with games like that. It's like, if the player base isn't there, it can just die really quickly.
Yeah, it's just unfortunately some of the AI bots like make it to the end are really good, and it's like I hate them, even though they're not real people. It's like I hate them so much. But it's a game where I don't know, unfortunately, some of the mini games were fantastic or just like really brutally difficult. I love that. Like there's one that's a Fatal Simon Says with Pigeon Monarchy that I loved. Where if you make a single mistake, you're done. And just gets faster and faster. It's like, oh no. But and just the way the pigeons move around is very silly. It's just the way their heads just like bob around.
Oh, their heads are so stupid. I love it.
Make them dance and stuff too, and doesn't do anything in the game. And I enjoyed some parts of it, but unfortunately I got stuck with the same awful minigame where you had to like hear what kind of music was playing from a certain instrument, like saying like, okay, was that a guitar or was that drums? And I just played the minigame again and again, and it was very easy, but it would go on for about 2 minutes at the time. The game is about 4 rounds, and it's very much like Fall Guys, but just rhythm games. And I just got stuck with that minigame, and I hated it, and eventually I get past it and be okay, but I enjoyed it. It felt very repetitive, and I feel like it's just something that'll be popular for a while, then die out.
Yeah.
After a few months, but the games has a narrator that's just the minions from Despicable Me, like just that narrates
I
everything.
love the minions,
And
but not
it's
in like a weird Facebook mom kind of way. I don't like minion memes. I like the minions. I need to be very clear on that.
well, that voice narrates everything. It's singing. It's you have to. There's one bit where you're rapping with some pigeons, and it's like you're getting a rap battle with a minion, and
Amazing.
there's a bit where they like just masterfully mispronounce like the victory name is like Master Banger, and they just say Monster Bonger. It's like that was great, and I thought it was fine. I'll probably just give it a somewhat positive score. I just got kind of bored of the mini games, unfortunately, but I don't think it'll best Fall Guys or even Party Animals in terms of like its ridiculousness. But if you like rhythm games, you'll have a really good time with it. I just
What did you give it out of 10?
I think I would give it a 7. I'm about to submit the review in like a few hours. I'm just about to before the podcast. It's like, oh, I got a little more time to think about it.
I was gonna ask, like, is it like multiplayer or is it done with like AI? Like,
Were you not listening? He's already answered this, Cal.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, no, it's. I mean, it's generally they want you to play with other people, but you can play with AI if like no one shows up.
Okay.
It's just you compensate because when you're starting out, you probably won't have a big player base, and if you're on your own, that way you don't have to like find a lobby. I don't know what it'll be like playing with other people because I've just played with bots for the most part. And although there's one other person that showed up and they're wearing the same costume I was, it's just like a patriotic pigeon, and it was great. And we had a little rap battle, and I was the better patriot out of him. And
is there any couch co-op?
The what?
Is there any couch co-op?
I don't think so, or at least I didn't see it on the screen. It just had a single mode, just like play the game, and that was it. Which was kind of disappointing because it's like they have some like about 20 or 30 different mini games. I think it's like 25.
It should be like a tutorial mode so you can practice them.
Yeah, no, I was thinking
from the outside looking in, it kind of felt to me like, oh, that's definitely got Mario Party vibes to it. If you just sat down with a couple of people and played it that way, but
I didn't like Mario Party very much. It was too luck based.
Yeah, well,
I don't like games where I can't control my victory. If I'd have won Mario Party, I might feel differently. But I was winning, and then the RNG let me down, and I was really angry.
It'd be like that.
Well, I think the game would really benefit from a mode where you could just have a couple of people play together, and just like whoever does better in a single mode. Just because as it is, some of the rhythm games, if you make a single mistake later on, like if there's one where you have to follow a specific beat, and then you make a single mistake, it's hard to correct that. So there's this one with the minecart where it's like you have to follow like a 3-note rhythm, and I like would lose a single beat, and I just would lose the round just because I wasn't able to be correct. But it does have some like little bits like power-ups that let you kind of cheat. Like one power-up is just wins the round automatically, or the other is just like it gets to obfuscate the other person's screen so they can't like see what's going on, and it feels pretty good.
Wow!
But,
how do you get the power-ups?
They're just floating in the air, and you have to collect them. But sometimes they can be like bad power-ups that will actually hamper you. Or like they won't tell you what notes you're supposed to play. You see
before you grab it what it is, or it's kind of like here's a power up. It's me random what it is.
Sometimes, but some of the better power ups are randomized, so you don't know.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a gamble. It's like, okay, do I want to risk this?
You want to grab it or not? That makes sense.
Yeah. I feel like about 20 or 30% of the gambles I took were negative. Well, like most of them were positive, so it was like always worth it. But,
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, it was.
Must be really frustrating to like go out of your way to grab a power up, and then it's like, aha, here's a bad thing.
Yeah, that was like, oh no, I shouldn't have done that.
What's some examples of some bad ones?
The power-ups or the mini games?
Power-ups.
Power-ups, there's one that will like just put a giant like freemium phone game ad on the screen that will block like you're playing a pigeon foosball, and it will like you just have to remember like what speed the puck was going before you hit it. And you don't know what it is. You just have to like listen to the rhythm and like get really good at it. It's very much a game you could play with your eyes closed if you're really good at rhythms. And you're kind of supposed to for some parts, but I'm not the best like musically inclined person for those kind of games, but I still found it was really very accessible. And because it's only 30-person games that are 4 rounds, it's pretty doable if you want to win a couple. So like it's achievable.
I can very much relate to that. In school, I was so bad at music class that whenever my cousin came along a year or two after me, the music teacher hated him by proxy. I was that bad.
Oh, your poor cousin.
Yeah, Rythym was not my friend.
Oh. Well, Even if like you're not good at rhythm games, I thought it was pretty fun. And if you really like rhythm games, this is probably going to be your game for a while. Especially if you like want it to be a competitive one where you can play against friends or just prove yourself as like the master bonger.
Nice.
Also, gosh, just the minion voice was so good. I just loved it. I was so scared when it first started up and I heard the voice and it said Lee Cheese. Like, who is that? What's going on? And then it was there and I got used to it. But
Nice.
yeah, I had a really good time with that. And then, okay, Lords of the Fallen. It's not exactly indie game, but I played a lot of it.
That one.
It's a Souls-like that came out recently. That's I would say Dark Souls, but it has a couple of different editions. Like, basically, there's a whole second world you can explore when you die. Where if you die, you can set to an alternate worlds and you have like an extra life. And if you die, then you're dead for real. And it's very much just Dark Souls, but a few different elements, and some of the elements were actually really smart. And I was kind of mixed with the game, but I ended up really liking it. But at the same time, it's very poorly optimized. The multiplayer is atrocious because the person that invades will have a half-second delay whenever they're trying to attack, so there's almost no way to win.
Yeah, when you brought it up last time, you kind of were somewhat negative of it. Have you came around to it?
Oh
now
yeah,
that
I've
you've-
come around. It's getting an 8. It's good. It took a while to get into it, but like really, once you get into the combat flow of it, or just exploring the world, or really just kicking people off ledges is like one of the best sources
Yeah.
of fun, because there are a lot of ledges and a lot of enemies just standing there. It just got a kind of a sick enjoyment out of just watching them plummet. Like, oh. But,
I heard in
yeah.
a recent review that it gets a real kick of like giving you a lot of throwables because there's so many ranged enemies.
I would say the throwables actually ended up being one of my favorite elements, just because I ended up picking up a holy hand grenade weapon that was like, it was a massive grenade. It did a lot of damage, and I was able to solo some bosses with it. But it'll give you a lot of weapons and equipment that you probably won't end up using. It's very much kind of the same thing of like Elden Ring and all those other Souls games where you just won't end up using most of the equipment, and it gives you the best strength weapon, which is the thing you need to get through the game, like for the very end of it. So it doesn't really make sense to try anything else. I did about 3 separate playthroughs of it, and the strength build was just the best one. So
It always is.
yeah, it really is. But it was really cool. Just having the portable bonfire elements actually ended up being really interesting. The story, it was still like very discernible. Like, you can't really understand what's going on, but there at the very end it ties itself together. And there's 3 endings, and the best ending, where a giant eyeball basically devours the world and everything in it, is really great, just because the very beginning of the game ties that back into it. So it just like comes full circle, and it's like, oh, I knew this was gonna happen from the very beginning, and it feels really great and horrible. But really, I think even though there was a lot of negative qualities to it, the second world you go to when you die was just so fantastic and terrifying. Just seeing these giant like behemoths behind you that were like locked in a fighting pose, or just like finding like there's a giant like head you could walk across to get to this next ledge. It was so gorgeous and terrifying, and I loved it. But at the same time, it's very poorly optimized, and if you don't have another like a good enough PC, you're probably not going to be able to play it. So
I definitely can't play it.
yeah. So I really liked it, but again, there's going to be a lot of negative qualities with it. If you really like Dark Souls games, you'll have a great time with it. And just because the RPG side of it is stronger than I thought Liza P was, like I thought it was better than Liza P in that that aspect. But regular players that aren't really into that genre probably will find it too frustrating. But again, I thought it was actually fairly easy for a lot of the Souls-like elements. Even though some bosses were technically hard, I just felt like I knew what to do to get good at it. So that felt nice.
Listen, I will give everything that you've said the stock that it deserves. Whenever you call something relatively easy in the Souls genre, I go, no, that's absolute rubbish, because JT's telling you. So if anyone's listening, he found it easy, you won't. All right?
To be fair,
he's not normal.
There are some platforming elements that I think you would find atrocious, Callum. There's a bit at the beginning where you have to hop across these platforms, and at the very least, if you die, you get a second chance to go across, but it's really awful. And I liked it because it's like, oh, this is
honestly, that sounds more like the kind of part that I would actually enjoy.
Souls platforming is never good, ever.
That's not true. Well, are we counting Hollow Knight to Souls-like?
No.
I mean, it's just, I mean, the 3D Souls-like platforming is like very challenging to get through.
Very different.
But I don't know, I enjoyed it. It's very hard, and if you like Dark Souls, you'll probably love this game just because of the different takes on the genre and being able to engage those elements without having to spend points into like a throwing skill was really cool. I would say one of the biggest things that's like universally negative, and I agree that's negative, is that to get the lore of the story for the item descriptions, you have to have put points into like a certain skill. That's like
Wait, what? So you can't get the lore unless you waste skill points?
pretty much, yeah. And
That
unless
sucks.
so, which
That's dumb.
it does kind of suck. And I was like, oh well, I want to know what the story is, and that's just like, well, too bad. You have to play a different build your next playthrough. And I was like,
That's not
screw
fair
you.
at all.
Yeah, that doesn't seem very fair. But
Can you like adjust your skill points afterwards or anything? Is it like once you spent it, you spent it?
You can respec. It's more like you'd respec to read all of the item descriptions, and I just searched what they were on my phone because I was like, okay, I'm not gonna bother. I just want to know what.
Yeah, that's
thing
not.
says.
Yeah, I'm with you.
But it
That would
was
be a
kind of
weird
interesting.
respec. What build are you running? Oh, I'm running a lore build.
Yeah, I mean you can. That's. But I just went as like a dumb strength character that was just like, duh, I don't know what this means. I'll just play game.
Barbarian.
Pretty
Big
much,
weapon,
yeah.
heavy armor,
Yeah.
things.
But I had a good time with it. I imagine there's going to be not a lot of negative qualities, and some areas just still won't run well after a while, and multiplayer will still probably be garbage until after a couple of more patches. But if you're a fan of Dark Souls or just any of those kind of Souls, like you're going to have a wonderful time, I assure you. But it's going to be hard. I get maybe. I thought it was easy, but I don't know, maybe it'll be hard. So you'll see. Read my review if you're interested. Yeah. Besides that, I don't know, I got really into that game. I also played some Halloweeny games.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I played through Monster Prom with Friends, which I don't know if you
I've heard of that
if you
one.
were. It's a very adult dating sim game where you're dating monster students in high school, and like just all monsters. Like there's some zombies, demon dudes, a couple of a Gorgon lady, and it was great. But it ended up having a lot of adult features, like not features, just more the language is very crass, and I decided to play through it with some friends on stream, and that was kind of a horrible idea. Because I marked myself as a safe for work streamer, and that game was not.
Oh
So-
no.
So that had some regrets there, but it was really funny. And there was one bit at the beginning that was funny that one of our friends really wanted to go after the demon guy, Damien, and we all thought like, hey, let's try to steal them from her. And one of our friends succeeded, and she was just very upset with them for a while, and it was pretty
Aw.
funny. But it was great. Most of us got rejected, and it's like, oh, because you've been rejected, your life is you'll never get a date again for the rest of your life, or you'll live in the sewers. Or
Therefore.
you'll always just be a sad, desperate wretch. So I thought it was funny. It's very much, you have to be into those kind of like joke dating sims, or like just
Yeah.
looking for a good parody of the genre. And for Halloween,
Which
it
person were
was a
you
great
trying
game.
to call? So I want to Google them to see what your taste is like.
Heck, I think I was going after the tentacle lady. Forgot her name, but there was green tentacle lady and purple tentacle lady, and I thought purple one was a little bit more easygoing, but green lady was very mean to me, and I was like, oh, I want to like, she'll be challenge mode, so.
I think that's why you might have failed to court them, because you kept calling them purple
I
tentacle
was like,
lady.
to be fair, purple tentacle lady
I'll
is
say-
kind of cute. I
So-
can get behind that. I can get behind that.
Some of their
I mean,
names.
it's a very basic dating tip, but
It's
you do
Zoe,
need to learn their
apparently.
name.
Really?
Zoe is the name you're
Gosh,
after.
yeah, Zoe. Oh,
And-
I just call people, hi, nice
I
jacket lady.
searched Monster Prom Green Tentacle Lady, and then Google's me like safe search blurring is on, and I'm like, oh god, why? Oh no, she
Well-
does look mean.
Anyways, it's a hilarious dating sim game, but it is very adult and crass, so play at your own discretion if you're with some people, or you want to make sure you're in
JT
a
takes
good
no
place.
responsibility.
So don't play this game with your mum. No,
No, it's gonna be a bad time. I
Oh,
imagine.
man.
Yeah, besides that,
Anything less crass?
I don't know if it's less crass. It was certainly adult, but I played a more of Slay the Princess, which is also another kind of Halloween kind of dating-ish sim where you have to slay a princess or the world will be destroyed, and it ended up turning into kind of a choose-your-own adventure of Groundhog Day, where
Okay.
every path you do with the princess would turn her into something like. My first playthrough, I just killed her. I was like, oh, better be safe than sorry. And then she turned to a ghost that tormented me, and I felt It was very creepy. Well, there's one where if you save her, or you are kind of hesitant about saving her, she turns into a gorgon, or she turns into a serial killer, and it has all these different routes, and it's really, the writing is really good. It's very like there's a narrator that feels like the Stanley Parable, but they're kind of in on it, and the voice acting was fine. It was just like the premise was really interesting, but I imagine that you have to be like okay with a lot of reading at the start. Eventually, you can just skip through it all, and you just see like all the new content. But it ended up being very graphic. There's a bit where like you'll lose some limbs, and it gets kind of bloody. Or there's a bit where like she like gnaws off her hand to get out of some chains, and it's very like, ew, stop, don't do this. And the game, it's, I don't know, it's very unapologetic about like its violence in an aspect. So it was interesting. But I would say even if you're not into visual like novel sims, because there's some elements like the story's good and the visuals are kind of moving, it feels a little bit easier to engage with. And it's fairly short too. Like a single ending will maybe take you 10 or 15 minutes, and there's about, I want to say 8 or 9. So that was it was a pretty good spooky game to play with Halloween that freaked me out a bit, and I don't know, just maybe a little bit scared of princesses, so it was good. But
Monarchy is scary.
yeah. Okay. There's actually one last game that I played just because I played a lot of it because I was visiting a friend in the South I mentioned, and it was very cold, so I ended up playing through more of the Long Dark, which is mentioned before. It's a survival game set in a part of Canada that's been abandoned, and just to survive in like the supreme cold against wolves, some deer, and these moose that will like destroy you. And it ended up being, I don't know, it's a very slow game that you'll probably get very bored of, and I don't know if I could really recommend it, but it's very much like a walking sim meets where you're just slowly, I don't know, starving to death in the cold. And I just had some moments where I almost died, where I went through a cave system, I was out of food, I had food parasites or intestinal parasites, I was just about to collapse, and then I barely made it to the like next region where I didn't know if there was going to be a house or not, and I just, the feeling of just like barely scraping through it just felt very cool. But I don't know, it was a great game to play if you like the idea of just like being in the cold and surviving on your own.
And isn't it episodic as well?
Yeah, but honestly, I didn't really engage with the episodes because I thought the story was kind of meh. The survival mode is more interesting, but I don't know, just, the story feels very awkwardly written, and just because they haven't released it all, it doesn't feel like it doesn't like lead up to anything.
Okay.
But
I thought it was done at this point. It's been out like a
no.
while.
It's been a long time. A lot of fans are angry because there's a DLC they released, and it promised a bunch of content, and about only a quarter of the content has come out for everyone who's like purchased the pack. So I was like, that's ridiculous. Like I saw it got overwhelmingly like, negative results on the DLC. I was like, wow, that's maybe it was mixed negative, but it was it's very much, if you can contend with it being very slow, like just waiting several days to get like make actual progress in the game, it's fine. But it's very much you play until you get bored of it, or until a bear mauls you to death, which happens actually a little bit more frequently than you like. But yeah, that was a good cold game to play, so I enjoyed that.
Nice.
I realized I real quick forgot one, so I'll do super quick.
Sure.
For my birthday, I had some friends over, so we played some Jackbox Party Pack 3, which was always fun. So I did some Quick Flash, which I always win at Quick Flash, not to brag, but I'm good at thinking on my feet. So I did Quick Flash. I didn't do very well at Espionage. I had a couple of people in my friend group was like getting all of them practically spot on. So basically, Espionage will like give you a question, and you have to like guess what percentage of the population it's true for. And Quick Flash, you're given a prompt and you've got to type the funniest answer. But the one that ended up being the funniest was TKO, where basically you're designing t-shirts. So at the start of the round, each person will draw 3 random drawings, and then you will write a bunch of captions, as many as you can in the time. And then for the game itself, each person is presented with a random selection of images that people have drawn and captions, and you've got to try and like match an image with the captions, create the funniest thing. And so the one that I did that ended up winning, my husband had done a very poorly drawn picture of me, which I put as the picture, and then the caption was "Build the wall." Now, for anyone listening on the podcast, not visual, I am a very visibly Muslim woman with a headscarf. So it was basically just a picture of a Muslim woman with a headscarf, and then "Build the wall," and it was so funny.
Oh my gosh!
Wonderful.
Racism's hilarious.
I mean, in the right circumstances, really funny.
Exactly. It's okay when racism is the joke rather than it being a racist joke.
Yeah.
It's a fine line to tread, but yeah, we had a good fun. We had good fun. I feel like
laugh, you'll cry.
It's so good just having fun with friends.
Oh yeah, there's so much. I feel like playing with friends can turn any game, especially like a bad game, into like a fun one. Especially party games,
sure.
You'll just have so much fun.
I love party games.
Well, I very much like feel like I shouldn't stream with friends though, because I feel like it gets a little bit more.
Oh yeah, so
naughty.
you cannot control where it is
No.
going with Jackbox. It will knock you straight out of that safe for work.
Well, there you go.
There you go.
That is all the games that we have been playing. It was a long one. When we come back, we will be telling you the games on our radar, so stick around for that. Hey, once again, we are back for the second section of the Indie Game Culture podcast. As you will know, if you're a return listener, we do games on the radar where we talk about games that we are looking forward to for the month of basically all of November. And maybe a little bit of December, because it is pretty scarce around this time. All of the Christmas holiday games that you want to buy, they're already out. So it's slim pickings, but we've got a few. Who wants to kick me off?
You can. You did the first one. Let's keep it going.
Keep it going.
It's a very Callum Central podcast today, as it should be.
As it should be.
So I'll kick it off with a game that I've been talking about for a while because I was trying to predict it coming out at X amount of time. And as soon as I stopped talking about it, here it is with a release date. So Spirittea is coming out in the middle of this month. Spirittea is basically like a very Stardew Valley inspired game, but it's also Studio Ghibli inspired. And in this game, you basically play as someone that runs a bathhouse. So part of the game is resource management and making your bathhouses brilliant for all of the customers and making money that way. But then it also has a lot of RPG elements where you go around the town and you complete quests and do mini games. And it also looks, it has a weird art style that I can't quite pin down because it feels kind of Undertale-y. It feels kind of Stardew Valley-like as well.
It's like a mix of different ones.
Looks like Earthbound a little bit, from my thought.
Very Earthbound.
I can see that, yeah.
Has a lot of similarities with those. Kind of a mesh of the three. It's not really a comfortable version of any of them. So.
I know exactly what it's reminding me of. Let's Build a Zoo, because it's from the same company. That's what the art style reminds me of.
Interesting.
I knew it looked familiar. Yeah.
From the same company.
Yeah, well, from No More Robots. Looks like they made both of them.
That'll be the publisher, because the
yeah.
developer is someone that's literally just made this game on his own.
That's interesting, because it did look. The art style is very similar.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, there you go.
That one looks very interesting. I don't know how amazing it's going to be, just because
I'm looking forward to it. It looks so cute, and the fact you can like befriend the locals and like do stuff like bug catching and karaoke is like, yeah, that sounds up my street.
Yeah, I'm just happy it's coming to PlayStation because I really didn't expect that at all.
Xbox as well.
Yeah, so I'm actually going to get to play it. Woo!
It should be good. I think it's 15th.
14, 15. You're in the right ballpark.
13th. There you go. I knew it was really close.
Yeah, so middle of the month you can play that one. I think it's one.
I'm going to be away for it. That's annoying. Let's play it when I get back.
Bummer.
Sad times.
And then I've got the second one that I feel like Melika's definitely going to mention. So it's a game called Calico, which is like a cat management cafe game.
Marilla's already reached out to me to do the review. I can't wait.
Yeah, he told me, and I was like, yeah, that makes sense. So do you know what, Melika, you take it away.
Well, I actually played the demo for Calico, and it's like, I was so upset because it's such a cute vibe kind of game. You have this cafe that you get to like build up, and there's like a bunch of different cats that you can like find in the wild and befriend. But the demo was so glitchy that I had to just give it up, and I was really upset about it. Whereas I'm hoping that the full release will have patched that all out, and it's just going to be really, really good. So I can't wait. It's basically just like, it's a cute little cat cafe that you run yourself, and you can do all kinds of customization, and yeah, it looks so good. I can't wait. It looks like it's like perfect cozy game that's not trying to be too many things at once. It's literally just like, here, make the cutest little cafe you can with your aesthetic, your vibes, find cats, befriend them, go out into the wild and discover new areas. And yeah, it's a nice little palate cleanser for any kind of more intense games.
I can vibe with it. I spend a lot of time when abroad in cat cafes. We seek them out.
Oh, have you ever been to the one? Do you ever come into England?
It depends. We go to concerts now and again.
Because there's a really nice cat cafe in Romsey called Pause for Thought, and they've got the most adorable cats.
No, I tend to go to kind of big cities because that tends to be where the concerts are. I don't find myself in Romsey very often.
Yeah, I was going to say it's kind of like there's another one in Bournemouth. I forgot what it's called. But
Weirdly, I
yeah,
have
cat
been in
cafes
Bournemouth
like
quite
we need more cat cafes. Cat cafes should be a thing in
I
every
agree.
town. Cutest thing.
That sounds amazing. I don't know if there are any in SF, but
It was so funny when I went to one. There was this one cat that kept on coming up and poking at my cage. It was like run. And one time when we looked up, there's like a hammock above us, and we looked up, and there's like a shadow of a cat, and then with a cat sitting above us the whole time. We hadn't realised.
Yeah, well, weirdly enough, I was going to go to the one in Bournemouth, but we couldn't get in that day.
Oh no, that's so sad.
So that's the closest I've come.
I think the one in Bournemouth was the one that had the little cat that only had one eye. It had to have an operation to remove one of its eyes, and it was like, oh, little buddy can't see.
But yeah, whenever we were in Budapest recently, we basically spent every day we were in the cat cafe in Budapest.
That's amazing. I love that.
I was like, I need to charge my phone. I'm like, oh, you're going to go to the Good Cafe, aren't you? You're not going back to the hotel. It's just an excuse.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah. So being able to do that in video game form would be a whole lot of fun.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I just see the
I'll let you know how much fun once it's been released and I do the review. So keep your eyes peeled on indiegameculture.com.
Yeah, I'm just like the bits where like you like fly around a mountain and like there's a hot springs cafe thing at the top of it, and or it's like you ride a bear, or it just looks like a very adorable game. I kind of want to try it out myself.
It's all about the vibes. If they get the vibes right, that's all they need to do.
Absolutely, vibes.
So yeah, there's that one. I put this one down. It's been out for a while on PC, so this is just basically it coming to PlayStation, me doing my usual thing. There's a game called Roots of Pacha, which is a farming simulator, but the USP for this one is that it's a caveman kind of Neanderthal kind of setting, where you're not. Oh yeah. You're essentially discovering the tools and becoming more proficient in like agriculture so that you can unlock all these things. So it's a fun bit of stick to kind of give it a new lease of life, because it's very hard to make a farming simulator interesting. But the good thing about this is there aren't very many farming simulators available on PlayStation. So if you release one, chances are I'll play it just by default. And there are two coming this month. So Coral Island is getting its full release on PlayStation, and Roots of Pacha is coming out roughly at the same time. So
were you aware of the issue that happened with the game back in May?
No.
Where it was temporarily removed from Steam because there was a fight with the publisher.
Oh.
Ooh, yeah. Scandal.
I know. I like Google the thing. First time I'm seeing a scandal, like, oh yeah, give me the tea.
Give you the Spirit
tea. I was thinking the same thing.
We're so funny and clever.
Oh, classic.
So yeah, that one's been around for a while. It's coming to PlayStation, so if you're interested in that, then by all means do that and play that. Then there's another one coming, and I feel like Melika may have this on her radar as well because it's very much up her alley. I don't know if you're aware of it though. It's a game called Born of Bread.
I haven't heard of it. Born of Bread.
So it is a turn-based kind of RPG adventure, kind of stripped down turn-based RPG.
Oh my god, this is just me in a game. Please tell me it's coming to console. Please tell me it's coming to console. Yes, Xbox, let's go.
I put a label beside it saying it's turn-based Tinykin. Because that's basically what it looks like.
Oh my gosh, it looks so cute. I love it. Oh my god, the artwork. Yes. Thank you for making me aware of this. 5th of December. Okay.
Yeah. It looks pretty interesting. From a turn-based side of things, it looks very simplified. So
it does, but I don't care because it's cute.
Oh yeah. It looks just like a fun adventure game.
I like the way the backpack's done. That's clever.
Yeah. It's one of those. It's definitely a cozy game that's not going to tax you too much. Entry-level JRPG, RPG, turn-based combat, if that's something you're looking for, this is what you need. Yeah,
looking at it, to do the inventory, it's almost like Tetris. Like each item is a certain shape, and you've got a grid for your inventory, and you've got to like align them so you can fit as much stuff as you can into your backpack because they're all different shapes. That's clever. I love that way of doing it. I like that.
There you go. I've revealed an absolute gem there.
Yeah, there you go. I'll have to add it onto my to play when it releases kind of Games. Can't wait. Yes.
Nice.
Wonder how I didn't hear of it. It must be quite a small one, I guess.
It's been made by Team 17. So
I love Team 17. Why did it not show up for me?
It might have just got lost in the ether because they've made so much stuff this year.
Yeah. Like even the Pigeons, Headbangers, Rhythm Royale, and so many others.
It is kind of getting to. I was very keen on them at the start of the year, but now it's getting to the point where it's kind of diminishing returns because the stuff in the latter half of the year has not been quite as strong. But
hopefully, Born and Bred will bring it back up.
Yeah, maybe finish on a high for the year.
What was the one they did on the? I forgot what it's called. It's like it was the roguelite on the ship where you had to fire the cannons. That was Team 17 as well.
Oh, Ship of Fools.
Ship of Fools. That's it. I quite like Ship of Fools.
I didn't.
I liked the relics.
I thought it was quite a weak roguelike, or no, yeah, it is a roguelike. Isn't
roguelite.
It? Yeah, I thought it was quite weak because
I can. It's not like pushing the boat around. Well, pushing the boat, but it was like I liked it. It was fun. I enjoyed it. So it's not the best roguelike I've ever played, but it's still worthwhile in my opinion.
Yeah, it feels.
I love games that are roguelikes that have like a really decent selection of relics. That's always my favorite thing to collect. That's what makes or breaks it for me.
Yeah, it was fine. I don't think it was that harsh to it, but I mean, there were certain aspects of it that made me think, okay, I think the reason why this is going to succeed in any regards because it's couch co-op. And if it wasn't, it wouldn't be like talked about at all. But yeah, there's that, and then the last one I have written down here, and it's one that I will not play because it's not coming to console, at least at this moment in time. But I still love the first one, so I'll mention it anyway. House Flipper 2 is coming at the end of the year, and it's just going to be House Flipper, but with more stuff to put in the house.
I never actually played House Flipper.
Oh, it's something that you can just get lost in for days doing literally nothing. Like just literally fixing radiators and doing like really mundane stuff and just interior designing to your heart's content. But it's in a really relaxing sort of way, in a sim, like a management sim sort of way. The same way like lawn mowing simulator is engaging and power washing simulator is engaging for the exact same reason. But yeah, they are the ones that I have written down. Of those, I think Spirittea's got the potential to be the standout, but we will see.
Also, I wanted to mention I recently did a little article on that. The creator of Stardew Valley talked about if he were to do a movie on Stardew Valley, and he said he was very protective of it, but if Studio Ghibli or David Lynch approached him, he would agree to it.
It's two very different vibes.
Yeah. But like, probably they're like, oh man, a Studio Ghibli Stardew Valley movie would be amazing. I would love that so much. But then they'd maybe have to like canonize.
I like it a lot more than a David Lynch Stardew Valley.
I don't know what that would look like. I feel like that would be very strange. But anyways, I thought of Spirittea as like, oh well, that's a game that's like that, like a mishmash of Spirited Away and Stardew Valley. So
yeah. I was about to say it's very unlikely that Studio Ghibli would do it because they essentially done their last film, but immediately after it came out, they came out and said, "No, we're not done. We're probably going to do more." So you never know.
Yeah, no.
Oh, I hope that would be.
I am very excited to watch. Was it The Boy and the Heron?
Yes. Yeah. I know because Karen Fukuhara is starring in it, and she's in The Boys. So I follow on Instagram, so I'm excited.
Yeah, I seen it the other day. They've announced like the English-speaking cast, so it shouldn't be too long before I get to see that.
Yeah, no, I'm excited for it.
There's a bit more spectacle whenever it was their last one, but now that they've come out and said, we're probably going to just keep going. There's a bit less behind it. But I don't think I've ever seen a bad Studio Ghibli film.
Yeah. No. Some of them are like slower paced, but they're still cute.
Oh, even the bad ones are okay.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, because no matter what, you've still got this like gorgeous like artwork and stuff, so you can get behind it even if it's a bit slower paced. I really like Kiki's delivery service.
Oh, that is good. It's not the best one, but it is a good one. The best one is Howl's Moving Castle because it is. But what can you do?
The Spirited Away pigs, though. I mean,
I was going to say Spirited Away is the best one, but it's such a cliche answer, so I'm going to avoid it. Like Spirited Away is what someone says when they haven't seen any Ghibli movies.
I just it just gave me such a big fear of like my parents turning into pigs, and I was as a kid I was just like paralyzed with the spirit. It's like, Mom, Dad, don't eat all the food or else that'll happen. And
I only actually watched it as an adult, so I think I avoided that fear.
I remember finding it very hard to follow as a child.
Yeah, it was very like
I can imagine that being difficult as a child.
I feel like
there's a lot going on.
Yeah, it's kind of metaphorical in some parts, or like there's the bit where the the one bit for her like cleaning the thing out of the spirit was like actually a real event that happened, where they were cleaning out this certain river. So that was kind of like an allegory. I forgot more about this. A friend told me about that. Like, oh, that's really interesting. But yeah, it's a great coming of age story, but as a kid, I just felt like it was very traumatic. So I
Yeah, I can definitely understand it being scary as a kid.
Yeah. I think they all kind of come from like dark stories that are kind of
Yeah.
like I've read Howl's Moving Castle as well, and it's a lot darker if you actually read it. Not like super dark, but definitely they skimp over it in the movies. But we're getting a bit sidetracked.
Yes, we really are. If this isn't a Ghibli podcast, oh my god, we should never do a Ghibli podcast.
Patreon. What are you looking forward to, Mr. JT?
There's a couple of games coming out that one of them is Doomsday Paradise, which feels very similar to Monster Prom. It's very much that meets Slay the Spire, or just more kind of like in the RPG element. I think it's a little bit lighter on the card or just the fighting mechanics part of it, and just more like about having a good time through it. It's basically a game where you get to have a date before the world ends, and it's all about the story of who you're gonna date with, and there can be wizards, monsters, pirates, and demon doctors. And it looked really interesting and fun, and very much a less crass version of Monster Prom, I think. Unless there were that stuff, but they just couldn't show it in the trailers, then I'll be fooled. But then it was
no
also,
warning.
Yeah, oh gosh, it could. And I feel like you can't really show that stuff. Like just you can't really show a lot of profanity in your trailers and everything. So when it sneaks up on you, like, oh wow, that's.
To be fair, I wouldn't have expected Monster Prom to be as crass as you described it. Like, the trailer didn't look that bad.
Yeah, and it's very funny and kind of wholesome, but there's just a lot of adult humor, so you have to very much watch out for it. And this game,
I find dating sims so hard to engage with because it's like I don't know if it's made its way over the pond to the US, but like it's like watching first dates, but you have to be on the date, and it's awful.
Oh. I kind of get that. I think it's just more like of it being a mockery of dates is the selling point of it, but yeah, it can get a little tedious. And my one complaint is the characters look like they're a little bit watered down versions of other Monster Prom like characters, and it's also very turn based, so that could turn into kind of a crawl. But I don't know, it was kind of interesting to see like combining that with like a Slay the Spire-esque game, so that could be more interesting. And besides that, they're redoing Risk of Rain. It's called Risk of Rain Returns, which so I don't know. I'd only played Risk of Rain 2, which was like the third person one where it's actually exploring a big world, and this is Risk of Rain, but it's a 2D side scroller, and basically it's a looter shooter game where you go around with friends, shooting monsters and dodging, and it's like you just play as a very violent space astronaut, and it looked. I don't know, for the visuals, it looked like fairly interesting. It's like, oh, I think this is something I'd engage with. But it looks very simplistic and like, shoot monsters, get pickups, get more powerful, and survive. So I thought that would be interesting, but I don't know, it looked like it could be very grindy too. So we'll see. I was kind of turned off by Risk of Rain 2 because I felt like it was really hard to be very situationally aware in that 3D environment, like to see I had to dodge what was in front of me and behind me and on top of me, and it just got very stressful and hectic. But
yeah, well, I was looking into it just to see if we should cover it, and I think we will do. But the thing that struck me was the game used to be 3D, and I was like, well, that's not a continuation of what they've done. They've completely changed the perspective. You do not see that very often. The only other game of recent memory that I've seen go from like 2D to 3D or the other way around is Hyper Light Drifter. Has changed and it's went 3D now. It's not obviously out yet, but it's the direction it's going to go in. You do not see people going from 2D to 3D very often, unless you're talking like in the 2000s year where everyone had to.
Well, yeah, it's kind of an interesting like take on it, just like going from 3D to 2D. And it's like, I think I personally will enjoy it more just because a lot of people preferred that high octane violence, but I just got too freaked out. It's like just feeling kind of overwhelmed by like having to dodge everything on all angles. So just like it feels like it'll be more Dead Cells Hollow Knight-esque, and I love those games, so I think I'll enjoy that.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm down to do some coverage on it too.
Hint, hint, nudge, nudge.
But
I don't know. I'll have to ask somebody. I don't know.
We'll see. And the final game coming out is a game called Gunhead, which is you play around as a pirate mech, flying around and exploring alien wrecks and just upgrading your mech. And like, it's very much a like violent, high octane, kind of Armored Core 6, but in the style of Borderlands, I would say. So like it's very cartoonish, but I know it's very like I'm excited about it because it looks like it plays like the FTL, but it's the boarding drone, and you just get to have a lot of fun just grappling around on obstacles and just flying around, just going nuts. So,
And is it like a traditional like mech game, like in the same way Armored Core is?
I would say yes. I haven't played a lot of traditional mech games, but it very much looked like it was Armored Core, but it's a little bit smaller environments, Borderlands-y graphics, and a little bit more silly. Like because Armored Core very much took itself seriously. That like everything, the things were too big, but like you just find these giant monstrosities, but it felt very gritty and kind of dark. And this feels a little bit more silly, and like just shooting aliens and going around upgrading your mech. And it looks like it might be kind of a roguelike-ish where you're just progressing, or it's just that same kind of style. But I don't know, it looked kind of interesting, and at the very least, Armored Core just looked a little bit too dark for me. Where I like dark games, but it looked like it would just be too much destruction for me to really engage with it. And this looks like a little bit more, because it's smaller environments, I'll be able to engage with it better. So we'll see.
Yeah. I never really understood the market for mech games at all. Like they were very big in the 2000s era. They just kept on getting made, and I was like, I don't really know who they're for or who enjoys them. They're so limited in scope. They do the same thing all the time.
Yeah.
And it seems like people really enjoyed the recent like FromSoft Armored Core 6, but no one's kind of chatting about it now, so I don't know how good it was.
I thought it was okay. I didn't really play through it. I just watched friends play through it, and it looked like there's a lot happening on screen you had to pay attention to. And this at least looks like it's more in the vein of Ultra Kill. And there's that one. Okay, Calum, there's this one game I did an article on. It was like you throw a weapon and it's like comes back to you. It's like the boomerang thing.
Yes,
Boomerang
that's Boomerang X, or yeah. I think that's the name.
Yeah. It looked like it just kind of incorporated that kind of traversal into it. So they look kind of interesting just based on that alone. Like just like moving around as this giant thing in these environments. Like it's just easier to comprehend, which I appreciated because I feel like just I don't know, just being in space and doing that just sounded like it'd be a good time for me. So we'll see.
Maybe there will be a good mech game. Who knows?
Maybe.
Melika, tell me.
Yes, so you might debate about whether this one is or isn't an indie, but they describe themselves as indie, so I'm giving it to them, and that is Dungeons 4 is coming out on the 9th, I believe. So basically, if anyone hasn't played the Dungeon series games, I've only played Dungeons 3, but it was fantastic. So basically, it's kind of flips the kind of idea of like a dungeon crawler on its head. So basically, you are the evil entity creating a dungeon, populating it with traps and enemies to kill heroes coming in. It's kind of like Boss Monster, I guess, but like if it was a sort of more top-down strategy kind of game. And the way you do it, you have to create. You've got like limited currency, and you can find more gold by sending your like monsters out into the dungeons to like break down walls and discover more gold, which you can use to pay to hire more tough enemies to fight the heroes. And basically the aim of the game is that you want to take over the entire world with evilness. You are working for, I think it's called the Absolute Evil, and you're this like dark elf, and you've got to just keep building these massive sprawling dungeons full of traps and like ways to earn money and enemies, so that when the good guys, who are the enemies in this game, come into the dungeon to try and thwart you, you can cut them down where they stand and keep going into there's two sections of the game. You've got the dungeon, which you control and you build, and then you've got the overworld, which is where once you've built your army up, you can send them out into the overworld to try and kill the good guys in their own villages and take over different sections of the world. And your ultimate goal is to just take the world over with evil. It's a really cool kind of like management game and like strategy and all that. It's fantastic. Really, really good.
So initially I was thinking, is it like Loop Hero in the sense like is it like an idle game that just you go?
No, it's not idle at all. No. You've got to constantly be paying attention to the different sort of changes and stuff, because there'll be sometimes because basically the overworld and the dungeons run at the same time. So you might need to be paying attention to something that's happening in the overworld, and also the dungeons are constantly slipping between them. You need to decide how you're going to allocate your different monsters, because like I said, you're limited by money, so you can only have so many. So you've got to think, okay, do I want to focus on defending the dungeon right now so I can earn more money, or do I want to try and take over this section of the town so the townspeople stop coming from this area? You've really got to be on it.
Is it like tower defense?
No, it's not. 'Cause I like tower defense games, but it's not. I mean, I guess the elements of that, but again, it's kind of like the reverse of a tower defense. No, it's not really like this. I don't know. It's hard to describe. There's tower defense elements for sure, but like it's kind of a bit of both, because in the overworld you're the one going out trying to destroy people, and in the dungeon you're trying to stop them coming in to destroy you. So it's kind of like a bit of both at the same time. But yeah, it worked really well in Dungeons 3, and Dungeons 4 looks like it's just going to be just that, but more of it. New kind of traps, new areas. You can build your dungeons better. Sounds like the story's got pretty exciting as well. Like, it was already exciting, but it really sort of amped up. And overall, it just seems like it's good at taking the really solid foundation they had, and then just added on to it. So yeah, I'm really excited for that.
Sounds good.
And then another game I'm looking forward to, I won't speak too much about it because I spoke about it a bit before, is SteamWorld Build. So that was one of the demos I played at Gamescom. And it's literally just another management game. You're building a world with construction and all that jazz. They give you different locations you can start up at, and you can build like warehouses and logging machines. And it's just basically, it's like build your town, make it bigger, and manage resources until it's huge. It's one of the games, like, if you like management games, you will like it. If you don't, you won't. It's not really flipping the genre. It's just doing it well, really committing to the theme. And yeah, I really enjoyed the demo. I'll definitely give the real. See, I'm very concerned about playing the main game, and it feels like it's one of those games that I might spend all of my time playing it and forget that anything else exists, which is always the way with management games. It's why I try not to play them too much, because I just know I cannot be trusted with them. I will lose track of hours. It's what happened with Dungeons 3. I was just playing it so much every day that I had to just quit it cold turkey. I played Dungeons 3 like 8 or 10 hours a day for like weeks, and I haven't touched it since, because it's one of those games that I just need to not play, or I will just play it. And I feel like SteamWorld Build could very much do the same thing. And another one that is bound to be a time sink, and yet I'm going to probably play it anyway, is Coral Island. So that has been in early access for yonks. It's been there for ages and ages and ages. It's finally having its full release, I believe, on the 14th of November. Yep. And yeah, it's basically kind of like a farming sim, but based on an island, and you go around clearing up trash and collecting stuff and making a beautiful island paradise. And yeah, it just looks really cute. I'm looking forward to, because I haven't played the early access, because I try to avoid playing games in early access because I want to experience the full thing. I want them to iron out all the kinks, get everything they want into the game, and I'll play it when it's ready. I'm in no rush. So yeah, I'm looking forward to finally playing that as it was intended. You're nodding, Cal. Have you played that yourself?
No, it's coming, and I probably will give it a try. Now,
yeah.
I was doing a list on the best farming sims to play in 2023, and of all of them that I listed, Coral Island is the most unashamedly trying to be Stardew Valley of all of them. Like, I think it's if you're going to do it the way they've done it and really go for it, because there's other ones that kind of lean in halfway and then try and do something else and never really find that synergy. That one just goes, listen, we're going to make this Stardew Valley. We're going to give it a fresh, like, island tropical feel, but it's Stardew Valley.
I think what will make it break it is what the NPCs are going to be like. So for me, it will very depend. Do I like the NPCs? If yes, I love this game. If no, I'm not going to play this game. Because yeah, for me, I feel like a lot of those kind of games, because they're so many, are so similar. For me, it's very much about, well, what are the NPCs going to keep me interested, or do they say the same line over and over and over again? Because that's why I stopped playing Monster Harvest, which had fantastic mechanics, but the townspeople, they would give you one line each. That's it, and it's so hard to like progress their stories. I'm like, you know what? I want to feel like I'm in this town, integrating with the community. So yeah,
felt kind of the same way about Moonstone Island. It is also because it's on PC, and I am considering getting a Steam Deck to stop this problem.
Ooh.
So keep your eyes peeled for that.
What is this space?
I may do that. It's mainly just because it was the catalyst for it was I was on a plane and I couldn't take anything to play on the plane, because I've relied on for the longest amount of time my PlayStation Vita, and God bless it, it doesn't have the legs to do it anymore. Like, it's a very old, antiquated system that has received no support for many years. It's had its time. It's done. So I need something else, and I don't want to switch.
I kind of get that. I was on the plane, and I brought my PC, but it got too turbulent, so I couldn't actually put like my computer down. I was gonna play a bunch of Sea of Stars, and I was like, "Oh, I can't." And,
Yeah.
I
You
was like,
brought your whole desktop setup, like tower and everything.
oh yeah, and
Monitor.
my monitors, everything on the plane. I just have my laptop with me, but yeah, just having something like portable like that is nice. I generally just like play the Spire on my phone whenever I'm traveling, so it's fine. But I need something more too.
Yeah, but that's what I eventually landed on. Like I said last time, I ended up playing Papers, Please to Ella's dismay because she said that we were going through customs and it was very in poor taste to be doing that.
Cool. And then there is one more game on my radar, which is called In Stars and Time. And I'm hesitant because I like the concept of it, but it's a monochromatic game, which, before this year, I would have said no. But I've actually played a couple of relatively decent monochromatic-ish games. So I'm willing to give it a go. And it's like an adventure RPG where you're stuck in this time loop. And it's like you and some friends are trying to defeat the evil king who keeps resetting the world and doing evil things. But each reset, you learn more about the world and you can learn new skills to overcome obstacles. It's got a very sort of basic sounding combat system, or like rock, paper, scissors style of combat. But it does look interesting. It looks like a fun little RPG. So I'll give it a go because it's coming to console and PC, obviously. And yeah, I'll give it a go, see what I think. If yes, I'll play it. If no, I won't. No real loss. But yeah, it looks like if you like little fun RPGs, then it looks like it's a little worth a try.
Poems really changed your outlook on monochromatic, hasn't it?
It has. It has. I was surprised by it. And also Chicory, because it starts out monochromatic as well.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
That's
Tome
just
doesn't. It just keeps with it
yeah,
right.
that's the thing. Like when I played Tome, I kept on waiting for it to go full color, and it never did. Apart from at the very end.
At the very, very end, yeah.
I earned my colors.
So yeah, that is our games on the radar. A couple of cool ones coming out. We are getting to that point of the year where we will kind of start wrapping things up and doing our game of the years instead of our games on the radar, because there will be literally nothing in December, not one thing. But yeah, stick around. We are going to be doing our big discussion in just a mo. Hey folks, and we are back for our third and final section where we are having our big discussion. This time we are doing the theme I want to go to there, which is the phrase from 30 Rock, but it's also the theme of today's big discussion. We're going to be talking about the indie game worlds that we would love to just visit or exist in or be a part of, whatever. If it's just for a one-day visit, if we want to stay there for life, whatever. And whatever role we want to play there, do we want to be just a little NPC? Do we want to be the hero of the story? We will decide in our fantasy realities. Who wants to go visit somewhere?
I mean, I don't mind, but I got a lot, so be prepared. I'll blitz through them. It's fine. So the first one that came to mind was Omno. It was just such a beautiful, peaceful, relaxing world with all those different biomes, all those different plants and animals to discover. Nothing like trying to attack you. It's just, and I love the fact you can surf on your little staff. So I want to be the character from Omno. I want to be in the Omno world as the character, surfing around my staff, gliding through the air, visiting all these biomes, discovering all these plants and animals. And yeah, it was just such a beautiful world to enter, and I want to live there. I would, well, not live there. I've got a life here, but I want to go there for an extended holiday, like a year or something there. I would love it.
That would be a pretty nice holiday. I could see that. It's kind of like a snowboarding holiday, but
this thing. It's because there's all the different biomes. It's just it's partly snowboarding holiday, partly adventure holiday, partly like little desert part. It was fantastic. That was definitely the first one that came to me. Now this one is going to sound completely out of left field, but Dodgeball Academia, because I love the idea of just being in a school where every lesson is dodgeball. I just love everything dedicated to dodgeball. Just you use dodgeball to level up, you use dodgeball to settle argument, dodgeball is your lessons, dodgeball is how you earn money to buy dodgeball items. I love the idea.
But what if you're not good at dodgeball? I
was going to pitch this to JT because that's a very American thing, dodgeball, where everything just basically is dodgeball. Is that a trigger?
What, for me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for if you're doing what would you call it, phys ed or gym, every lesson is dodgeball.
Oh.
Is that a thing?
I'm jealous.
It's kind of in some parts, not all the time, but it was just such a violent thing. I feel like they phased it out partway through my education.
It's the violence is what makes it good.
it's very much geared to a certain type of like mindset. If you're not in dodgeball, you really don't want to be in dodgeball.
Because I loved it because we hardly ever got to play it, and every time they were like, "Okay, what sport should we play today?" I would always be like, "Let's do dodgeball," and it never was dodgeball. And the best thing was we had a rule that if it got to a point where one team had 5 or more players and the other team only had 1, if that one person survived for 20 or more seconds, they would win. And it was so good because I knew that no matter how bad my teammates are, I would win anyway because I could be the last one and just survive for 20 seconds. Because if that happens, just hold on to a ball and use it to bounce the other balls. They don't even need to take them out at that point. Oh, it was great because I just launched balls at people. I was so good at catching the balls, at bouncing them away, at jumping them out of the way. Because I was not a particularly fit or exercise person, but dodgeball really tapped into my competitive side. And it was like, I wish I could play it as an adult still. I haven't played dodgeball since I was 15. Yeah, I want to play dodgeball again.
It's like the same discussion you have. When's the last time you played Rounders?
I loved Rounders. Was the other game I loved. Literally, dodgeball and Rounders were my 2 absolute favorites.
Yes, they didn't play dodgeball at our school because I was at an all boys school and we were quite a rough bunch, so it never happened.
I remember now.
It was such a good game.
Our dodgeballs were these little foam balls that wouldn't hurt you. Anything.
Although I hated playing with those dodgeballs. They didn't throw right. They didn't bounce right. I liked the really thick, big, red, rubbery ones that would just swamp off of you. Those hurt. Yeah. They hurt. Yes, they do. That's what makes it fun.
But let me tell you, those foam balls, if you get them the right way, they hurt too.
Oh no, I love dodgeball and I love Rounders. So Dodgeball Academia would be perfect because I could just live in my little dodgeball world where I become stronger through my dodgeball skills. It's great.
And you don't think that would become a problem at any point?
Nope. I don't want to live there. I just want to do my 3 years or whatever at Dodgeball Academia, get my dodgeball degree, and then go out into the world with my useless degree.
Oh, by the time you get to your thesis, you'd be done by dodgeball.
I don't think you have to write for Dodgeball Academia. You just play dodgeball. Your thesis would be winning a dodgeball game.
Oh no, but you'd have to do some sort of elaborate competition of some description.
It'll be the dodgeball championship that happens every year. Have you not played Dodgeball Academia?
I'm just imagining you're applying for a job and you just bring a dodgeball and it's okay, what are your qualifications? And you just throw a dodgeball at them. It's you're hired.
Dodgeball Academia was one of my favorite. When you sometimes play a game and you have zero expectations for it, it ends up being really, really good. Dodgeball Academia was very much that for me because I don't usually like sports games, but that one was done really well and I genuinely enjoyed it a lot. And then the next one on my list is New Super Lucky's Tale, simply because it's colorful. There's all those different worlds I can visit. I could meet Lucky, and I love Lucky. Even the enemies are cats, and I love cats anyway. And there's all the different cute stuff to collect. So yeah, I could vibe with living in the world of New Super Lucky's Tale.
Yeah, there's plenty of ones I was going to list, little platformers, a happy ending one of them, where it's just cute and colorful, and it just seems like a nice place to be. Not for any particular reason other than it just seems nice.
Then another one I played quite recently that I was like, oh yeah, that would be perfect. Is Maniko's Night Market, because it's just so calm and peaceful. Everyone's friendly, but most people are so friendly. It's just, I could just make my little crafts and sell them at the night market, which is so fun. There's all those arcade games, all the different stuff to buy. There's a bunch of different foods and snacks. There's so many cute cats. I've got my big friendly cat, what's cryptid? That's it. And it's just, yeah, I could definitely vibe. To be honest, that's one of the ones where I actually would want to live there. I could live full time in Maniko's Night Market because there's just so much to do. It's such a peaceful, nice way of living. Everyone's so friendly. So yeah, I could definitely get behind living in Maniko's Night Market land.
I'm very excited to get around to it. Humble Games were nice enough to give me a PlayStation code when it came out, so I will be getting around to it. And I've got no obligation to review it because it's already done.
Yeah, exactly. Because I got it on Switch because that's what the review code was for. But now it's also on Game Pass, but I don't want to play it on 2 different consoles. So but yeah, it's really good. Then another one on my list is Slime Rancher, because it's such a beautiful, wide, colorful, original world. And even most of the slimes are friendly, and it just seems fantastic. The fruits look delicious. I want to eat all the fruits. I love how the world, I could just jetpack through all these different areas, discovering all the different biomes, discovering the new types of slimes, breeding them to become my friends and to sell their poop. Like, it's just, yeah, Slime Rancher, I could get behind living there, to be honest, as long as there were other people, because in the game, there's not really other people you directly interact with. It's more done through a screen, but I want not to be lonely. But yeah, if I could live in the world of Slime Rancher with other people, I could get behind that because it's so cute, it's so colorful, and it just seems like such a simple way of life. But also an adventurous, simple way of life. I could kind of do it how I wanted to if I lived there.
I like that vibe.
Sounds very
Yes.
nice.
I still can't wait for them to get the full release of Slime. I'm still so mad that Slime Rancher 2 didn't announce that it was early access only until right before they launched the early access. It was just, this is the release date. I thought it was going to be the full Slime Rancher 2. It's like, actually, this is the early access. So I didn't go for it, and it's still not out. And it's like, I really just want to play Slime Rancher 2.
Yeah, and when they brought it out early access, I'm pretty sure I remember it being pretty bad, even for early access.
I just hear some issues. That's why I was very glad I didn't play it, because it's one of those games where if I've been looking forward to it for so long and I love the original so much, there's no way I'm going to taint my experience of it by, having such hype for it, and then it's just. So yeah, I'm excited for Slime Rancher 2, but I just want to play it when it's good and ready.
Keep cooking.
Exactly. And then another one you happened to mention earlier quite by chance is Tinykin, because the levels just seem really, really cool. And I could have my own little Tinykin buddies to do stuff for me. I could command my own army of cute little beings who will just help me get around. All the NPCs are adorable. Like, even though they're bugs, they're not gross, scary bugs. They're cute, friendly bugs. So I would want, and I love the music that's always playing in the background. That's what life is missing. Where is my background music when I'm just wandering around doing nothing? That is what I want from life. So if I could just have all those tunes playing, I could be climbing up, investigating everything. I think there's a lot of fun to being a really small person in a really big world. Like, I could do so much climbing, and I love climbing.
That is true. There would be a lot of climbing.
There would be so much climbing. And then another one that we mentioned earlier is Chicory, because this would very much depend on two things. Either A, I can be the brush wielder and I can decorate the world how I like and make it as colorful and beautiful and be constantly changing it, or it's got a very, very, very skilled brush wielder who makes the world beautiful for me and is always changing it. But if it's a bad brush wielder, I do not want to be anywhere near it. For me, it is very much a case of either I control it or someone very, very talented does the coloring. So, but yeah, like, it's another one of those things where it's like everyone's so nice and it's so colorful and pretty, and I want to live there. So I would want to live in the world of Chicory for sure.
So, Melika, what region of Chicory would you live in? That's actually one of mine, so I've thought about that.
It's such a tough question. Like, I've forgotten what it's called, but the one like right by the lake, not the lake, sorry, the river. So the one, if you go like left of where you start, just to the right of the art school is where I'd want to live, like right by the river. Oh yeah. Where you know that horrible bully person at the art school where her mum lives. That's where I want to live. But like, I don't want her to be there. I want to kick the bully out. Her mum can stay. I mean, I like her mum.
To be fair, I think my art was pretty bad, so like she had a pretty fair assessment.
But she doesn't need to point that out. I know it's bad. I don't need her to tell me that. Like, rude. Let everyone else be nice about it. I like people being nice about my art, even though it sucks. So yeah, the bully could drown in a freak accident, and then her mum could stay, and I could live next to her mum.
Is that really the vibe you want to set starting off?
Yes.
Genocide.
But she drowns, but then everyone forgets she ever existed. So that's not even sad.
She's not that bad. Eventually, you become friends with her.
You know that sort of like that black smoke type thing that's overtaking the world. It kind of happens, a very sort of brief brush over, and just erases their memory of the bully lady, and then no one knows she ever existed. They just know that I'm great at art, and everyone thinks so. And her mum's there. Her mum's very unaware she had a child. Every now and then she'll be pottering around about her house and find some child's clothes that she doesn't remember having. It's like, where did this come from? And she just thinks she picked it up from a charity shop or
you're
something.
You're breathing way too much life into this.
Well, she should have thought hard before bullying me, shouldn't she?
Yeah, well, evidently so.
And then the final one is very much a case of I would want there to be there for a week tops. I do not want to live there. I do not want to send a holiday, but it would be fun to experience. And that is New Wirral in Cassette Beasts, because I think it would be really exciting to be one of the rangers there. I am there defending the world from these like evil monsters, and I can turn into the Cassette Beasts and I can fight them. And yeah, I think that would be really cool. temporarily, but I would not want to live there. And I think it's kind of disingenuous for me to say I want to live there when the whole point of the game is you're trying to help people escape from there. It's like, yeah, you're stuck there, but I want to live there forever. But no, I think it would be really fun to just have a temporary adventure that I could like look back on and have those memories of like, yeah, I did that. I saved the world from all the cassette beasts. But I don't want to live there. It's too scary.
Yeah, that's fair. It's kind of the same thing as Pokemon. You'd want to live in that world, but then you
No, I would want to live in the Pokemon world. That's a lot less. It's a lot less dangerous because the difference between the main difference between cassette beasts and the Pokemon is Pokemon. You have the Pokemon. Cassette beasts, you are the beast. You transform into it. So I don't have a cute little companion with me. I just can change my own form. Whereas with Pokemon, if I get to have this adventure with all these little cute, I want cute little creatures around me and going around the world investigating stuff. That's totally my vibe. But cassette beasts, it's like I would have to become these different things, and they're kind of scary. So yeah, it'd be an awesome adventure, awesome thing to experience as a one-off, but not to live there. Whereas Pokemon, yeah, I'd love to live in the Pokemon world in a heartbeat. Love it.
Okay. Well,
Johto, in case you're wondering.
More of a Kanto man myself, and JT, you're obviously
I can respect Kanto.
you're going to tell us about all the different places you've been in the Pokemon world. Tell us.
I bet he's an Nova boy.
Of course, I've been on all of the amazing worlds with the Pikachu world and the Bulbasaur world. I think it's a great Bulbasaur land. I mean, I've yet to play Pokemon. I really have
Which
to
region would you live in, JT?
I mean,
or which town?
the best one, of course, hometown. We all love it. We all know it. I really have to play Pokemon soon.
You really do?
I promised months ago, but I still haven't gotten around to it.
I'll keep shaming you and dropping you in these little holes.
I will do it then. I'll just avoid being in these holes again in the future.
which town or city specifically for you, Cal, in Kanto?
Oh, do you know what? I would actually live in Hoenn. I prefer Hoenn.
Yeah, that would be my second choice, to be fair.
I don't know where I specifically would live. Kind of like Slateport. I thought it was quite nice.
It's not bad.
Little seaside town, you know?
Yeah. I don't really like the seaside towns. For me, I would want to live in Goldenrod City. I like a nice bustling environment with all the different routes with Pokemon around to explore. I think it'll be good for me.
That sounds kind of cool. I don't know anything about it, but sounds nice.
If I was living in Hoenn, I forgot the name of the town. It's the one just, you know where the daycare centre is? You've got that whole sort of stretch of path. The one just to the left in Hoenn.
In Hoenn, yes, Moville is the one, or is it Ben and Turf, the one on the other side?
Moville. I want to live in Moville.
JT, we're alienating you, and I'm sorry. It's your own fault.
Yeah, play already.
All right. I promise I'll get to it soon.
Just before I move on, I was also going to say, whenever you're talking about Chicory, I think that if you were living there, your whole vibe would be just living as like a 5-year-old again. Because having like a friend's 5-year-old in the house and they bring you something for the fridge and you just have to blow smoke up their ass and tell them how great their drawing is, that'd be great just to have all the time.
Oh my gosh.
It's just like a smudge and some glitter on top of it, and you're like, "Oh, and what is this?" And they're like, "That's a house," and you're like, "Uh-huh."
Wow. It's so hard trying to not crush children's dreams and not lie to them. Like I tried. It's just I don't want to lie to them and tell them that drawing's good. Or I might be like, "I like your use of color" or something. It's something nice.
Yeah,
but the worst thing is when they sing, because kids just universally cannot sing. And they're like, "What did you think of my song?" And you can't just be like, "It sucks." I just try to be nice, but like, I bet you're going to sound amazing in a few years.
Yeah, but then equally, if a kid can sing and they're on like a talent show or something, you find that annoying as well. So there's no.
I think it's very when you see them on talent shows, it's more that they're better than other kids their age. I think there's been maybe 2 or 3 children singers who are praised on like The Voice or X Factor or Britain's Got Talent or anything who are actually good. The rest of them, it's like you're very good for a child. They just don't have the developed vocal cords. It's just not their fault. It's biology, and you can tell they're going to be incredible in a few years. But it's just like they can't sing.
I don't even think Simon Cowell has turned around and went, "You're very good for a child."
Well, that's why it's hard. I don't like to say it to them, but it's the truth. I say I don't like to say it. I have said it to children. They understand. Oh. I'm very honest with kids. I try to treat them with respect.
So it's
without
like
lying to them.
a compliment sandwich. I love your use of color. It's awful. This drawing is awful. But also I like the glitter.
Oh gosh, that would destroy me as a kid if someone said like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I guess I'll never draw again."
Well, it was very annoying for me as a kid because me and my brother liked to have drawing competitions, and Mum would refuse to grade them. We'd do a competition. We spent ages on it. Before we started, we're like, "Mum, will you be the judge?" She'd be like, "Yes," and then we'd show her the drawings, and she'd be like, "Okay, in the age 7 category, this is the winner. In the age 8 category, so we'd have to change it. So we wouldn't tell Mum we were having a competition. We'd draw it, then one of us would take it to her and say, "I drew 2 drawings. Which do you like better?" So that she would actually be the judge.
Oh, that's manipulation, but that's fun.
Oh dear. We just wanted to have a competition already. Let us win.
Yeah.
I say we.
JT, tell us where you want to live. Let's move on.
Sure. Well, some of these are going to be kind of obvious because I love these games, but I'll start with Amori, which basically I want to live in the dream world of Headspace in a place called Orange Oasis, where everything is made out of candy with sugary sands and cupcake mountains. And it's all edible, and I can befriend the donut people and save the knockoff Cabbage Patch Kids from Rain World. And it just seems like a very tasty, fun, colorful place, and just like a very comfortable place to be in. So also I just eat everything, and I'd be okay being one of the NPCs there, just because I feel like nothing bad would ever happen to me as long as I don't fall into the catacombs where I have to fight the like evil gingerbread men and sweets that
What's
have
the
gone.
place called again?
It's called Orange Oasis. And
So it's
great.
all the wonder of Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory without the Gene Wilder predatory vibes.
Pretty much, yeah. Well, actually, there are some predatory vibes, but it's mostly just you have to really look for those.
Oh, it looks cute. I like that.
Yeah, there's a bit where you can accidentally meet the gods of the world, and they can unmake you.
Oops.
But that's just like it's in the corner. You just like have to mess with some gravestones to do that. There's also a guy on fire who's running around, but he's very nice and friendly, even though he's like on fire, and it's like it's kind of concerning.
Yeah. He just takes it in his stride, I guess.
Yeah.
Apparently you can't have a candy world without there being some like darkness
No.
like, within.
Oh,
It's just
dear.
not believable if you don't have the darkness somewhere in
I
that
can't
corner.
believe as a kid I kind of thought it was okay for the bad kids to get taken away by the Oompa Loompas. Whereas now as an adult, I'm like, dude, that's not fair. The kids. That's highly irresponsible to let them just get, sent to the furnace room just because she's a bit of a brat. That's her dad's fault. She's like 12. Leave her alone.
The very adult thing to go, you have to look at the parents.
Well, that's the thing. As a kid, I'm like, yeah, she sucks. Go die in a burning fire. Whereas as an adult, I'm like, oh my gosh, her daddy's given her everything. What do you expect her to turn out like? What she needs is guidance, not Oompa Loompas telling her it's her fault.
You're like, you have to look at the upbringing.
You do. You got to look at the upbringing. Also, all Augustus Gloop really did was like chocolate. Like, I'm sorry, you can't take, a large lad who loves his chocolate and pop him right next to a massive river of chocolate and say, oh yeah, don't touch that, but I'm going to leave you completely unsupervised to do what you like. So of course he's going to drink the chocolate water. It's unhygienic in the first place because if they're touching the other stuff, it could just fall into the river and it's still getting contaminated. Like, if you don't want stuff contaminated, put up a fence, dude. You knew you were having guests.
I can't believe we're discussing the health protocols and food protocols of Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory.
Don't even
Here we
get me
are.
started on Grandpa Joe.
Oh my gosh.
That man makes me mad. And also Charlie makes me mad for picking Grandpa Joe in the first place. Like, I'm sorry, all Grandpa Joe does is lie in bed and ground off your mother all day. She works her butt off for Charlie day in, day out, looking after all these grandparents, making sure that Charlie is fed and clothed despite living in absolute poverty, and he finally gets a chance to do something nice for her. It's like, oh yeah, Granddad, I know you can't do anything, will you come with me? And all of a sudden, this man who's been more than happy to just sponge off of Charlie's mom all this time, so, oh, something in it for me, I guess I can walk after all. And I bet as soon as he gets back from the chocolate factory, he goes back to that bed and not doing anything for the house.
God, that's making me sad. I didn't think the candy plant thought would make me kind of upset. Like, oh.
I have feelings, okay? I have big feelings about Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
So
There's
to
a lot about
summarize, JT wants to live in
Yes.
Amori.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I got carried away there.
Oh my gosh. I would like to live in the nice parts of it. There's all the psychological horror bits, so I would just like stay away from those and be the nice, cozy bits where everything is okay and you don't have to worry about a very traumatic thing that happened. So that'd be good. Also, there's no bad parenting happening in the Orange Oasis. Everything, the parents are fine. They're doing great, I think.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
One of the kids ended up being kind of awful, and she's a kind of an evil queen lady, but most other kids
Gotta blame the parents.
Yeah, it's the upbringing.
They were just donut people they were just like donuts at tables. I can't blame them when they're like just so adorable and kind of tasty looking. I just want to eat them up.
Where else would you want to
move
live?
it along.
Okay. Well, next one for me. Okay, I know we talked before. Stardew Valley is kind of an obvious one, but I would want to live in Stardew Valley.
That's perfectly valid. Perfectly valid. Like, I'm pretty sure we all would want to live in Stardew Valley. Let's face it.
I just imagine like taking my computer there and just being able to like write and fish in Stardew Valley. Just like, oh, that would be the life. And
That would be good.
I don't know, it's just such a nice world. All the community is really wonderful and kind of interesting. And yeah, you could like stay in the mines all day, but I probably wouldn't because that'd be kind of
Yeah, that's one of those
awful.
things. It's fun to do it in a game, but I would not want to do that in real life.
No.
I would be inclined to hang out with Krobus, but I don't want to sit in the sewers all day, you know?
Yeah, I know it's
Yeah.
gonna smell in there.
Yeah,
It's gonna smell real bad.
Well, you
I
could
could
have,
You'd have to
hang
sit
out
with your housemate.
yeah.
I could hang out with Hat Mouse. I like Hat Mouse.
Oh, I love Hat Mouse.
But yeah,
Who would you
no,
marry in Stardew Valley if you were living there?
Mouse.
Hat Mouse for sure. I'm not sure. I've had a thought about like what the relationships and stuff. I think Shane might have the most interesting story just because he's kind of hostile towards you, but he has a little bit more of an
You're an
interesting
I
quest.
can change him kind of guy.
Yeah, it's more like he has stuff to him, and like he has some like he ponders like existentialism, and like you have to rescue him like while he's
that
drunk and passed
brooding,
out.
mysterious dude.
Now, if I'm being genuine, my answer is Robin. I'm going to break up that
Oh yeah,
family.
just get rid of Demetrius. He doesn't deserve her.
Yeah, he's a bad man.
He's such a bad stepdad to Sebi.
Oh my gosh.
And then I will take him on as my son. And
Yeah.
Aw.
that'll be lovely.
Oh
And
my
they can
gosh.
keep Mari. I don't really want Mari. It's fine.
Yeah. He only cares about Mari anyway. As long as you get him to have Mari, he won't care if you take his wife and stepson.
Yeah, exactly.
Unfortunately, the light has gone out. I accidentally unplugged something. I don't think it's obvious, but give me a sec while I plug that back in.
ITC after dark.
Oh dear.
Do-do-do-do-do. But yeah, I would also like to live there. I didn't write it down because it's like obvious, but
Yeah, I'm exactly the same. Oh. But
just
you would marry Robin, and you could have like so many different free constructions.
I know. Think of all of the lovely carpentry that I would be able to put around the home. That'd be lovely.
That'd be amazing. I would marry Sam. I'd have my lovely little skater boy. Hey, I'll probably be around your house all the time because you'd be like stepdad to my husband's best friend. That wouldn't be weird at all.
I know.
You'll
That'd
be
be normal.
family. Gosh, I'll say real answer. I mean, she would be interesting. I'd probably go with Emily because she'd be kind of fun and I would just like a fun
pretty.
character to be around. She's kind of quirky, and
Yeah.
yeah.
So I feel like the issue is as well, when I first started playing Stardew Valley, the bachelors were much more age appropriate for me. I feel like 20, and it's like this so they're only like 30. It's like at this point, it's like none of them seem age appropriate.
They never
I think
really
I would-
Sure, they're technically adults, but
yeah.
But even if you're not going for a romantic reason, you could just
Yeah.
spend all day attacking Mayor Lewis
That's the thing. Yes, just stealing his shorts and putting them in the luau
every year.
every year without fail.
Gosh, well, I think it would be a wonderful world to be in. I just have to
would.
worry about passing out if like after it was 2 a.m. So I'd be very careful because I feel like I stay up
Well,
late
I feel like
sometimes,
that's
so-
very much a game thing. I feel like in real world you probably wouldn't.
I'm just-
I feel like I'd
yeah.
just hang out with the wizard all day,
All right.
learning the
get up to.
secret spells.
Yeah, talk to the forest
And
spirits.
also obviously hanging out with Linus, of course.
Oh, he
I
needs
could
friends.
cook him meals and take them to him.
Aw.
Oh, and if you befriend the wizard and get to know the witch, then obviously you can abandon your children with.
I don't want to abandon my children.
I could
Not
turn
in
my
the
kids
real
into
world.
All right.
I don't know if
Suit
I'd
yourself.
do that part, but it'd be kind of funny. I'd feel kind of horrible, and I don't think my spouse would forgive me, but that would be interesting.
We
But
won't
you can-
remember, or she won't remember. They won't remember. They can't remember a thing. As if
Exactly.
they never existed.
Gosh.
Now, there is one thing that happens in Stardew Valley if you get rid of your children. It only happens the first time, but if you have a TV and you give them away, they pop up on the TV as like a possessed kind of thing. It's really creepy.
It's like you
It makes me feel
forgot us.
guilty for what you've done. It's why I've never done it. I've only heard about it. I
It's
would
like-
never get rid of my child.
It's such a good horror element just to have in the game. Just like, oh,
It's
That
so
hurts.
dark.
There's loads of little weird things that you never get to know unless you do these really situational things. Like, for example, if you get everyone to a point where they're in a relationship with you, all of the bachelors, they
Yeah.
will find you in
confront
the
you.
bar.
Balloon,
But
yeah.
then if
If
you
you've
have
got the
a,
lucky rabbit's foot.
yeah, then they all kind of just do a wee dance for you and they're all happy with you.
Yeah, they don't mind you dating all the people as long as you've got your rabbit's foot.
I heard about that before. I was planning on doing that. I was like, oh man, that would have been such a good event that would have made me feel awful if I got to that point. I wish I hadn't like learned that.
Well,
Yeah.
I never even tried to date anyone except for Sam.
Oh,
I'm a loyal girl, even in games.
I want to see the little scenes, but it'd be a fun world to be in, and just like doing all like little activities every now and then. It's like give you a reason.
Yeah,
to
I
get
love
on to
all the
stuff.
festivals and things.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like the jellyfish one would be so perfect in real life.
Oh, the dance the moonlight jellies. That
Yeah,
because it's really pointless in the game.
that's the thing. In the game, it's boring, but in real life, it would be like the most mesmerizing, wonderful experience.
Yeah. Well, that's my
I'm-
business.
I'm-
Already, but yeah.
I'm looking forward to you telling me how you want to live in the world of Disco Elysium somehow.
That was my next one, actually.
I knew
Oh
it. I
my
knew it.
God.
I knew it.
Okay, just hear me out.
Right. Justify
Hear me
this.
out. Okay, so in Disco Elysium, there is a dancing scene that is phenomenal where you can get these guys that want to create a rave in this destroyed ruined church, like with these tech nerd people beside them, and there's a bit where you can dance and like you go and you enter your consciousness and you talk to yourself just as like before you're gonna dance, and you say dance like you've never danced before, and you just go at it, and it is amazing. And I was like, man, if I could just be in that moment, that would be just the best thing. Like it's just like being really good at dancing in this just really wild destroyed scene with like 5 other people. It would be so much fun. Also, I could
I
sing
knew-
karaoke and people would kind of hate me, but it would be okay.
I knew you were going to bring it up. I knew that you were going to really segment it because you don't want to be in the world of Disco Elysium. It's
But-
really sad and depressing.
It is, but it's also so wonderful and just fun finding like the weird antics out of it. I would like stay away from like the shootings and stuff, but if you want to get extremely political and say some really bizarre things, you can, and people will just accept it for what it is.
Yeah.
And, I just
Unless you don't take a side, in which case you are a bad person.
Oh no, you're a laughable moralist. Then you can't do that. I don't know. Just to like embrace the kind of insanity of it for a little bit would it would be a lot of fun. But to be fair, it's very dangerous and bleak and desperate. So I would just want to be one of the people that are just like embracing the stranger parts of it. Just being one of like the rock people that are dancing instead of like selling drugs, which is their plan. So
Here's how
Yeah.
I could get behind it. If it was the very, very last place that I ever visited, I could get behind doing a really reckless run and me and Kuno just forming a duo on all sorts of class A's and just having a
Yeah.
great time. But that would very
Exactly.
much be it's very much against the vibe,
oh.
the cozy vibe.
I'm just thinking like you could befriend Kuno, and like that's one of the things Disco Elysium is if Kim gets hurt, Kuno can become your partner, and he's just like the best worst person. He just says just the dumbest things. I love him, and it would just be such a good thing to have along for. So I think I'd just like to be in that world for a bit and just like be very sad and depressed, but also just have a lot of fun with it too. So
Yeah.
yeah, and just that it would be so strange and weird, and I think I'd like it for that. So don't knock it till you try it.
How wonderfully predictable that it came up.
Well, I've got a couple more, but I can save them for a next round. Are we just going to sing all of ours at once, or are we doing a couple?
Yeah,
I mean, I
we're-
did, so-
yeah.
Okay.
Blast
Oh,
on through.
Oh, we just say all. Okay. Well, another one I think more specific to me, just because I really like the story, is Road Warden, which that was a text adventure game where it's kind of in a medieval fantasy kind of zombie setting with fantasy creatures, and if you die, you become a zombie, and it's like it was in this really nice kind of tribalist setting where you got to explore all these nice different cultures and bring everybody together, and there was just so much to see. And I just like the idea of like going on a hiking trip and there being stakes. Like it's a little bit dangerous, but like you have tools to deal with it all. And it would be kind of scary just to be one of the adventurers in it, but I just think it would be a cool setting. I'd probably die if I'm being perfectly honest, but I just like to explore it for a little bit with some like safety net around me would be okay. It's like it's befriend the locals and they know me and I know them, and then like get to save the town, and I don't know, it'd be cool. Also, there's like this place called Creeks where everyone is actually very friendly to you. The rest of the game, everyone's fairly hostile. Or there's one group in where they pretend to be nice, but like if you're mean to them, they will throw you out of your like shed where you're staying at, beat you up, and like then throw you in a river. So that's it's kind of upsetting. But the Creeks people never do that. They're just a bunch of people.
That's good.
Yeah, they're just like a bunch of people that are kind of nude, hanging by a river, and you just become friends with them, and they're pretty cool. I like them. And they weren't too like overboard on the nudity stuff. They said that was there, but it's like, oh, hey, what's up, dude? And it's like, oh, nothing much. How about you? And it's like, oh, these people are nice. I want to be friends with them. So I would enjoy that.
Fair play.
Yeah. Also, I could like find the secret mountain people in the very edge of the map, if like, because I know where to go. So
you know where they
hi,
are.
I found where you are. Haha. And it's like, oh, what are you doing here? Go away. So that'd be a cool interaction. But it's very specific to that game, just because I liked it. And besides that, you already mentioned Chicory, but that would still be a fun place to live in. I'd say specifically, I actually really like the bug area that was like kind of dark and creepy.
Oh, the underground part.
Yeah, just the bugs were like had the best dialogue. It was just the funniest things.
I loved how at first you couldn't understand them, and then when you got the translation, they do say the best things.
There were these absurd, futile people that, like, I remember one got angry because I kept talking to it. Like, I won this whole
leave me alone.
like mini quest. Yeah, it's like, just let me be, and I don't know, just the characters were very well written. But yeah, no, it's a fun world to explore, and all the characters are great. And it's very pretty too. And,
it is very pretty.
Yeah, besides that, heck, okay, also specific, pathologic, which I know that's strange, but
why would you want to live there?
I wouldn't want to live there. I would want to get there just because I would know all this like answers to the mystery, and I could say like, "Hey, I know what's happening. I know the answers."
Oh, you just want to go and flex on them? Is basically what I'm hearing.
Yeah, just say like, "Haha, I know the answers. I'm gonna save the day." Lol.
Okay, so even if you know all the answers, the chances are you'll still get it wrong. It's that bad.
But I know what to do. I could stop all of the deaths, and they could worship me as the town hero. And it's like, haha, I'm so good. I'm a better doctor than all.
So you just want to feel good about yourself, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, pretty much. Just
okay,
a little bit.
So it's not so much you want to live there. It's more you just want to be revered.
Well, I could like they revere me like while I live there, and like, oh yeah, and I could befriend the worm people, and I feel like everyone would love me because I saved their town, and also I could stop like the person getting like burned as a witch from happening because that was awful. It's like, hey, don't. They're not evil, and I think I could maybe stop it because there wasn't really anyone like really stopping it. So
I'm just googling the images to make sure I've remembered what it is.
You
it is.
Yeah. I could stop all of the
You're
horrible
crazy.
scenes.
You're
I could save
crazy,
the world.
JT.
Now, JT, from what I recall, there isn't really a happy ending, like at all.
I mean, well, for the first game, yeah, pretty much no. At the end of the second game, it's also like mostly everybody's dead. But I could just say like, hey, here's the cure to the plague. Boom, done. And it's like, oh, nice, bro. And we'd fist bump.
But they all look so creepy. I'd have to deal with all those creepy people.
I mean, they're lovable, creepy people. They have a lot to them.
You've had the choice of every game out there in the indie scene. You've went, I want to go to this one where I'll get this little pocket of joy if I do all these very meticulous things in a nice way.
Exactly. It'll feel so rewarding. I will have earned like the right to like live there and be just a hero among them.
It's not even a crumb of joy that you earn. It's like a crumb of just normality, like just status quo. That's what you earn.
Yeah, pretty much. But it would feel good. It would feel so deserved, and I would like that.
Okay.
Okay, no, it's a stranger pick. No, fair enough. Okay, for another pick that I think is actually will be a little bit better received is Dave the Diver's Blue Hole, where, to be fair, I love scuba diving. I would actually not want to explore the water underneath there because of all the sharks and stuff that are very close to the surface and would be very dangerous. But just like that area with the restaurant, like I'd love to live there, but just like eat a couple of meals there. Like if I had every
I
lunch
knew you were
there
going to
for-
mention something about Dave the Diver, to be honest. I
It's
knew it was going to be
very
Disco
pretty.
Elysium and something from Dave the Diver.
It's just such a pretty cool area, and I just love the blue setting of the ocean.
It does look quite pretty, actually, to be
Yeah.
fair.
And just Bancho's cooking and stuff would be so tasty every time. I get to see him do like a wicked animation of him, like, I don't know, murdering this fish in front of another fish, and the fish is scared. It's like, oh no, I'm next.
That sounds cruel.
Yeah, but it's a pretty funny animation. And some of the others are really nice, but just like to watch him cook and just get to
Let him
eat
cook.
food there. Let him cook. That expression is becoming more and more normal. I hear it
I
everywhere
love
now.
that expression. I love it.
Besides that, I guess I'd like to live in raft for a bit and just try to make a raft out of everything. I'd be a little bit scared of the sharks.
Isn't that the one where you're just like floating around on the sea, picking up junk to try and survive?
Yeah, but I can make it like
Why
an
do you
actual
want to put
pirate
yourself
ship.
in these situations where you're going to die?
I could maybe survive, and I could make it a massive
Yeah,
pirate ship.
I
and it
could
would be
maybe
so cool.
survive. It's not a reason to want to go somewhere, JT.
But nice tropical weather. Eventually, I get a roof over my head and some hammocks I could sleep in.
You seem like the kind of person that could get really into dark tourism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I'm in this
Oh.
post-apocalyptic site. I gotta survive. Let's go.
You're
So
one of the
I'm
people that
trying.
roots for a zombie apocalypse, aren't you, JT?
I actually, okay, I would not want that to happen to reality. I'm just like, actually, that would be, I value toilet paper and toothpaste and all these little amenities.
That's my issue. That's
But-
the issue. Not
But
the dead
to
people, but you
have,
want
like,
toilet paper.
to have a few days where I can just like live there for a bit and have to survive these awful creatures, or just to say that I did it. That it would be so
Wait,
cool.
wait.
I had a picture of me like just standing over like something. I was like, oh no, I'm being chased by the horde. Ha ha. As long as I survive, and like,
JT, in the nicest possible way, you cray.
No. Just not to support JT in any of his past decisions to this point,
Yes.
because silly. But
no.
I did put down Project Zomboid on mine
Oh my
because
Hey, let's go.
I am really interested in seeing how far I could get.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
It's-
I'm done. I'm done. You live your
So-
crazy, weird. I might not die fantasies. Do what you want to
It's
do.
the morbid curiosity of seeing how far I could get in a zombie apocalypse.
Okay,
That's
so-
all it is.
Caleb, in that vein, could you maybe like understand or potentially pick a pathologic world?
No,
for that.
obviously not, because it's very different.
Why?
There's no joy to be had. There's no action.
But-
There's no like.
It's so strange and wonderfully, and it's pretty
I,
grim.
I would
but
say
it's-
a zombie apocalypse makes a lot more sense to me wanting to be there than pathologic.
Okay,
Like
Yeah,
I could, I wouldn't want it for myself. Like it's one of those things that, like in a dream, yes. To physically live there, no.
Oh,
the difference is like in a zombie apocalypse, especially in the early stages, like all like resources and rations are still in big supply, and you just kind of have to survive and see how far
I
you get.
Listen, I think the thing for me would be if I had my physical senses removed, then okay. But if I'm going to be feeling pain, no.
Okay, well, yeah, it's going to end that way. It's just seeing how far you
Yeah.
get. But
Yeah.
that's the kind of
When I
the
say
morbid-
physical senses, I want my height, I want my hearing. Height, I want my sight, I want my hearing. I don't want my height. I want to be taller in a zombie apocalypse. I'd die at my height. And I need longer legs for running. But yeah, I want my sight, I want my hearing. Definitely don't want a sense of smell. And sense of touch feels overrated, to be honest. If I'm going to be feeling pain,
Interesting.
yeah.
that's a thought. I
At least
don't know,
just
I feel like
again,
if
I wouldn't
could
want that because I'm
feel-
going to be eating garbage.
Oh, it would be a fun experience, and I just like to see how far you get in those. Like, oh,
Ooh,
I did it.
pop- Very
That's
useful
awesome.
information. If you ever are stuck in a situation like that where food is going to be limited, mushrooms. They grow faster than you can eat them. You will not go out of food. As long as you have a few mushrooms to start off with, just keep replanting them, replanting them, replanting them. It will be disgusting and you will have all kinds of health issues, but you will survive.
How would you grow them though? Like, would you need like a
They
garden?
grow really easily in sort of like dark, wet, damp conditions.
Okay.
As long as you have the seeds or whatever they grow from. I don't
That's
know, other
interesting.
mushrooms. I'm not entirely sure how they grow, but yeah. I just
Alright.
know that mushrooms are the way to go.
Mushrooms. Got it.
Yeah.
And with that, I have one last worlds, which it'd be very dangerous, and I have to be very, very careful, or I don't know, maybe like some kind of safety net around me, but like Hollow Knight, City of Tears, and Dirtmouth. Just because, I don't know, it'd be so, just like exploring the watery ruins would be so cool, I think. Maybe like taking a little inner tube and floating around some like the decrepitude. But it'd be very dangerous because everything would be trying to kill you. But...
Yeah. That's the issue, is the everything trying to kill you part.
Yeah,
That's the concerning part.
I can sort of get around the Hollow Knight one as opposed
Oh,
to...
I considered Hollow Knight, but then I was like,
Yeah.
no, wait, because everything is trying to kill me.
Yeah, but it is pretty.
Yeah,
It
also,
is pretty.
canonically, there is someone singing in the City of Tears because there's a lady you can visit in like a bathhouse, so there would actually be music there. So that would just be really cool. And
Oh, is that the
haunting.
one with the bathhouse lady?
Yeah, and that's like her spirit is singing there, and you can hear it throughout the city. And it's like, oh, it's canon.
okay.
Yeah. And maybe if I was like, okay, if I would be in danger, I would just be in Dirtmouth and just kind of explore the ruins and befriend the locals, because at least there I would be safe and I could like, I don't know, have it out with Elderbug and meet Grim, and it would be a cool time. And just like meet all like the weird bug characters and knowing that I'd be safe there. But if I could take some risk, I want to explore City of Tears because it'd be so pretty and like just sad and wonderful.
Right, sad and wonderful.
Yeah.
Odd combination of words.
Oh, it's just seeing all these like these amazing structures that have just been ruined forever, and it's like, oh, this is just so sad.
Quite a smorgasbord you gave us there of ideas.
I'm very concerned for your well-being.
I feel like this is kind of telling about like what kind of worlds I would want to. Yeah, I'm okay, but I just like, oh,
I love how
like,
it's like, look at these cute, wonderful, vibey worlds, and you're like, I want to survive death itself.
Exactly. Well, those are the
right,
worlds I would
Cal,
love
be
to
a palette cleanser for us.
I'll bring a bit of light and color back before we call this a day.
No.
You've really brought the vibe down.
No.
Okay, so the first one I have written down is Mealtime, which is the one where you're a little mushroom.
head.
and you live
I
in the
would have
forest.
definitely put that if I'd actually played it, for sure. It looks so cute.
Yeah, so it is lovely. You're just essentially in a forest with little anthropomorphic characters, and they all just kind of chat to each other via a meal delivery service, and it's just dead cute.
Would you want to be the mushroom head person?
Well, this is I've kind of geared all of mine around the idea that I am just an NPC living in the world.
I love that. That's how I did it as mine as well for most of them.
So I just kind of want to be someone that exists in the forest,
Yep.
just another animal. I don't know.
I'm with you.
Make me whatever you want. I'm fine. And I'll just kind of live there. In fact, you know what? I want to be a frog, living under a little toadstool in the rain.
Yeah, that'd be so cute.
Do you also want to like go on mysteries and solve crimes as a detective?
With a little magnifying glass.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's safe to say that. I might get attacked again. I don't know.
No, I can living there. Oh, I don't know. Why on earth would you want to live there? It looks like garbage.
You see, you can't help yourself.
I'm sorry.
But yeah, Mealtime is one. The other one I wrote down, basically for the same reason, is a short hike.
Yeah, I
really-
nearly had that on mine. Very nearly. But then I was like, I think I'd get stressed with everything around me being pixelated all the time.
I think I would get
Do,
island.
do you think
fever.
you have that self-awareness?
Yes.
If you're in there.
Well,
Okay.
I've been picturing it as like me in these worlds, like
Oh,
me
okay.
with like my current self and my current expectations for things to not be pixelated around me.
So like you wouldn't be a bird in that sense, or one of the other like people creatures.
No, I can be a different creature. That's fine, but like my own sentience is
Oh,
more the point of it. Like I don't want to be. Oh, I just feel like the pixelation would just be too jarring for me.
Yeah, I can live with that vibe. I'm fine. I'll just float around there. I don't know what vibe I would go for. Maybe the little kid that you go on the boat with that's just sitting
Yeah.
there hating his life.
But then you've got to, but no, because then you've got to deal with your dad telling you can't use the speedboat all the time.
well, I suppose. But then you get to use the speedboat,
That's
and then you get to
true.
go on
You can
fun
be friends with
races.
a little penguin.
And I don't have to drive the speedboat because Claire's going to do it for me. So
Yeah, I would probably be on the beach playing beach stick ball all day.
I
yeah,
can see
well, you
that,
do have previous.
I do.
beach stick ball world record.
Well, no, the world record's ridiculous. It's like 3,000 and something.
Well, you just need to try harder.
You need to
That's
try
all it is.
harder.
I
Exactly.
feel like I'd almost want to try to do it out of spite, just like beat it by just one.
I just love the fact that I went from trying to go to 30 and just ending up getting 100.
It's a vibe, for sure.
Ugh.
But yeah, moving on from that one, because I'm essentially just picking places at the start because they're nice. But
Yeah.
this one is I've kind of geared it around open worlds because I feel like you have to have a sense of place to pick these places.
Mhm.
So I went for Sable, which was a world that I really enjoyed.
But it's so washed out.
It's real. I like the concept of the world. I get that you don't like the art style, but the concept of the world's
Yes, but
really
you'll
cool.
be living in that world with that art style as your art style.
But you see, I like the art style.
That's okay then.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. I always struggle to remember that different people have different opinions to me.
Yeah.
Oh, it was so funny. I went to my nan's house and I was reading through some old school reports that were stored there. And one of the things my year 4 teacher had written was like, Malika's wonderful, but she does sometimes struggle to understand that other people's opinions are different from her. It's like, oh, what was it? One of my art teachers or my music teacher or something is throwing such horrible shade on me. She was like, Melika is not exhibiting the same natural talent in music as she does for the other subjects. I'm like, whoa, rude.
Wow.
What's that supposed to mean?
I have
Like,
a school.
it's one like this is one subject where Melika doesn't exhibit natural flair. It's like, how dare you, first of all.
I kind of have a similar thing. I have like one surviving school report, and Ella has it, and it's one of her prized possessions because the music teacher said that I was, in quotations, coming along on the recorder.
That is such a backhanded compliment.
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
That's amazing. I love that
No,
so much.
I had all of mine at my nan's. It was great because from my early ones, there was like a section where I had to like write what my favorite thing about the year was. And when I was like 4, all I'd written was, I like drawing. It's like, that's so cute.
And I bet
And it's
you
also
did.
the one thing I was supposedly bad at, according to my rude teacher.
You can't have it all.
Exactly.
But yeah, I like Sable. The world, the concept of like the particular tribe that you're from, where you go out into the world and you have your gliding, which is essentially you get this glide power that allows you to explore the world a lot more competently. And then you get your little glider, which is like your little, I kind of compared it to like Star Wars pod racing, same sort of vibe. And you get that little thing to go out on, and you go out into the world and you discover what your destiny is supposed to be, what your vocation that you're going to do. Are you going to be a mechanist and fix gliders, or are you going to be on some kind of vigilante route and save the world, or whatever it happens to be? I just kind of like that concept, and then you settle into your little life after you're done with your gliding. It's kind of like the equivalent of like a coming of age story, going off to uni and finding your true self or whatever, but it's done in a much more cool way. So I like that one. Then I also wrote down the Outer Worlds, the Outer Wilds rather, specifically Timber Hearth. I would really like to live on Timber Hearth.
Well, okay, you only have like what, a few days or 2 days there, and then everything's kind of destroyed.
No, but you live on a time loop, and nothing ever happens to Timber
I
Hearth.
think it's 22 minutes, isn't it?
22 minutes in a
Yeah.
loop. I'm happy. I can do 22-minute loops
So just keep
But-
cooking marshmallows for all time.
forever. That'd be so great. Just the little guy playing his little tune on his banjo.
It's
That'd be
dark
nice.
all the time.
Oh, but it's so nice. And if I ever wanted to go
Why
somewhere,
are
I
you so
could.
stressed in the dark?
I could go and head off to, I don't know where I would. All the other planets are quite hostile. Maybe go up to the moon on Timber Hearth and see the other guy that runs it. That'd be nice. And if I really want just to scare myself, I can go off the Dark Bramble and die, and then I come back. just to feel something, you know? I reckon you would get into a rut, just like,
Oh yeah, for sure.
I just want to feel something. And then you would regret it, and then you'd go back to toasting marshmallows again. Be nice. So yeah, there's that. I also wrote down, and this goes with the caveat that I'd have to be dead, but Spirittea, I would really like to just be on the boat.
Oh,
I mean,
my
I feel
last-
like have to be dead as a. Actually, no, you wouldn't though, because if you're just randomly living in the world, you wouldn't have to be dead.
I suppose. In
Yeah.
which case, even nicer.
Exactly.
oh, I love
Exactly.
spirits that are just hanging out there. Or this one where it's like you talk to them and then they start walking home and you follow them home and they walk faster and they shut the door and lock it.
Yeah,
Stay away.
I
I
remember
love that
that.
bit.
I don't know if there's any specific town or place in Spiritfair I'd like to be
It's the
on.
ship.
I think it would just be the ship.
You
yeah.
can go wherever.
Yeah, I could play as Stella in that role, I suppose, but I kind of don't want the
I wouldn't want
responsibility.
So
Stella. Wait,
sad.
I'd be so devastated. I could not deal with losing everyone.
No, I could just have her magical kitchen where you can cook things in 3
What I would
seconds.
do, I would be a random NPC, and I'd go on the ship, and then I would adopt Stanley, and I'd take him to live in one of the towns. He doesn't need to move on. He can just stay there with me forever. He'll be my lovely little mushroom son. And if anyone dares tell me he doesn't look like me, I would like, that's my son you're talking about. How dare you?
Never
and I'd
speak
make
to
sure
me or
he's
my
loved,
son ever again.
and I wouldn't swear at him when all he wanted to eat was his breakfast, and he could have cereal and sweets every day. So I hate his mother so much. It's like, you had this beautiful boy and you made him feel that bad. How dare you?
So what in response to your chicory chat, what would you do to them?
Oh, probably not safe for the podcast.
Ooh,
That's scary.
just
to
shows
think
you.
about.
Because we've already had like genocide and killing the other one. So
Oh no, it's just such a horrible. It's tough to decide whether I hate her or Elena more in Spiritfarer. Probably the mum, but only because she's so awful. But like having to experience Elena is much worse because I hate her.
I mean, they are all quite redeemable in some way, but it's
Elena
more like...
isn't. Elena's the only one who's not redeemable. Even Bruce and Mickey redeem themselves on their Everdor journey, but Elena never redeems herself. Like, I'm sorry, but I just wanted to be your best isn't an excuse. If you really want the best for me, be best for me.
Yeah. Tell you that you're good at drawing. Say I'm good at the recorder. That's all we need.
Exactly. A bit of love.
But yeah, Spiritfarer on the boat would be good. Another one I wrote down, and this one is genuinely quite possible if I really wanted to. I wrote down Everybody's Gone to the Rapture, and I could live in a little quiet Shropshire town, which I could genuinely do if I wanted to.
I feel this is very achievable because you guys like.
Yeah, I try
to
to avoid games that are like based in the real world. This is like, yeah, I could just do that if I wanted to do that.
Yeah, but
I really so peaceful. Yorton, that is absolutely a place that we called.
It's such a vibe. It's like there's no one there. So
I didn't realize it was so realistic.
Oh, the graphics were so ahead of their time.
When was it made?
2015.
Yeah,
wow. Yeah.
Looked
like,
really
it looks like
good.
Photos.
So would you just be like on your own, Callum, just in this empty town, or
yeah, everyone's gone to the Rapture, but instead of looking into the mystery, I just kind of live there. That'd be good. I'd enjoy that. Just read a couple of books, settle down.
Yeah. It's like
I'm all for that.
But it would still be a very pretty place to be, even so.
It'd be like my retirement place to go. Once I'm done with all these adventures. But then I did say my last place would be a zombie epic. So, between two minds now. Well, I'll just move on. I wrote down, and I put a slash between the two because they kind of have the same vibe. I said Journey and Abzu. I want to be in both those worlds and just kind of experience them in the exact same way you would the game, but just firsthand.
For some reason, I thought you didn't like Abzu very much.
Well, I didn't like it as much because
I suppose with the living in worlds, you actually have to enjoy the game. You just have to like the world.
Yeah, and I'm not a big swimmer, but in the world of Abzu, I'm going to pretend that I am.
You can be who you want to be.
Exactly. I am a strong swimmer in that world, and I get to go and dive deep and see what's there. And I think that would be nice. I wouldn't change anything about the world or the experience. Just literally just be there and experience it as it is.
Yeah.
And then I have two more. One is Alba: A Wildlife Adventure, which is a game I keep talking about, but people haven't registered as like a game. But I think it's fantastic, even though it didn't give me a platinum trophy because it didn't have one, which is sad. But it's essentially a world where you act as like an animal conservationist, and you go around like saving the little island and being like an ecological warrior, I suppose.
And you're just a little kid, and
you take photos of the wildlife, and yeah, it's just nice. It's kind of like Pokemon. It's not Pokemon Snap. Pokemon. What's the one with the photos?
Yeah, Pokemon Snap.
Pokemon Snap. Yeah, it is Pokemon Snap. Sorry, it's basically that, but within like a real world setting. So I could get on board with that. And then the last one I wrote down, and it's just because I can't say the Elder Scrolls Oblivion because I really love Cyrodiil and I would love to go there. So I went for a game that looks relatively similar and kind of has the same vibe, but a little bit different. I picked East Shade.
How am I spelling that?
East as in the direction, shade as in you sit under a tree.
Oh, right. Yes.
It's basically a walking
Yes,
sim.
I know the one. Yeah.
It's based around painting, and you go and
That was
find
it. That's the painting one, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very nice. It's very pretty. And that's
I think I misheard you at first. I think it's sort of like a shed or something. And I was
I would like to go to a shed, please.
I was like, wait, what? I was so confused about each shed. That makes more sense.
Man, I love sheds too.
Just a shed in the back garden. All of the gardening tools. Yeah.
That'll be our game of the year next year. It's like a shed and you just like organize the tools in it. And go out in your garden.
Yeah.
I've seen a game on the PlayStation Store and I haven't looked into it, but it's Potato Sack Racing Simulator 2024.
Oh my god.
And I kind of want to look into it.
They're really coming up with anything these days, huh?
So I might give feedback on that.
Are you just the sack, or
I think it's like a big meme game, so I don't think that's what it actually consists of. I haven't looked into it, but I probably will. But it is priced at like £16, and I don't really want to invest that much money.
That's too much for a meme.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, they're all the ones that I would like to go to, all on the basis that I would be a little NPC just existing in the world. I don't want to be the hero.
You don't want to be the hero. No, I don't want for the most part. Apart from Cassette Beast, I want to temporarily be the hero for a week.
And I would also like to live in the frog detective world and be a frog detective.
Yeah.
That's nice. I support you in your endeavors.
And you know what I'd really love to do? I'd love to tell jokes. And then whenever I tell the joke, what I would do is I would explain the joke and why it's funny. And then once you got it, I would also explain it once more just so you really understood.
Yeah.
And then if you didn't get it then, I'd probably tell you again just to make sure.
You've got to make sure I understand the joke.
You know, I would be one of the people that will laugh each time. It's like, oh, wow, you're explaining it. That's wow. I love it.
I can literally feel myself getting genuinely angry. And I'm trying to remind myself that this is just a joke. This is it's not real. It's all fine. He's just messing with me.
But if I was in that world, then it would be real.
Yep.
And the jokes would be funny.
You aren't going to rise out of me, Cal. I've got it out of my system. I said my piece. I said my piece, and I'm done. I'm done.
Are there any worlds that we absolutely would not want to live in?
Well, I think you mentioned all of them.
Okay. Well, fine.
Not to rag on you, but you took them all.
No, that's fair. I can understand that. Oh, but the challenge. The adventure. Surviving against all odds.
Yeah, that's exactly what I want to do.
Oh.
In games, not in reality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Against all odds, I get out of bed in the morning. That's kind of the vibe I have. That's the challenge I need.
Well, it's like when I was sort of coming up with ideas, like obviously my brain immediately fits my favorite games, but I'm thinking I would not want to live in the Slay the Spire world. Definitely don't want to live in the Bugsnax world. So like, yeah.
I was surprised you didn't bring up Bugsnax because
I'm sorry. Have you played the entire game of Bugsnax?
No, I played.
Oh, okay, that's why you don't know why you. Okay, if you played it, you would know why I do not want to live there under any circumstances.
Is there some sort of like they're getting?
It's really dark. It is a super dark story.
I just thought it was.
It looks cute. It's one of those worlds that looks cute until you play it, and you're like, oh my gosh.
I have played it. I think I maybe played it about halfway through, and it still seems pretty cute and colorful.
It's the ending. It's the ending. It's the ending.
Okay, well then we'll just discard the ending and live in the world.
No, because once you know the ending, you don't want to live in the world.
But I don't know the ending.
Yeah, okay, but that's why I don't want to live in the world anyway. I was like, besides, then I'd have to deal with Bethica.
Bethica comes round, sort of.
Mean. I'm sorry, there is no way Bethica would not be ranking on my style. I have no sense of style, and I could not be living with her just like constantly talking about that. She just... Plus Wiggle's singing. I like Wiggle, don't get me wrong, but it's like, shut up, lady. I'm trying to sleep.
Break her heart.
There you go.
Gramble, though. Love Gramble. I'd help him run his little barn full of Bugsnax.
Maybe you can take him in just into another world, borrow him, bring him into another one.
Oh, he would love Pokemon so much.
Oh, I feel like I was browsing my Steam for a sec. I will say I realized I have a limit. That Shadows of Doubt, that's too much for me. That would be too dark. and also
Isn't
it's
that
the
just the
weather's.
protective one?
Yeah, you're just a
detective.
Really
vigilante.
that bad
detective.
compared to pathologic?
I mean, the world is just absolutely miserable. There's no redeeming qualities about it. It's going outside is a nightmare because it's just like blowing wind all the time. It's perpetually night, and all the food is just
Okay.
like
Yeah.
there's no healthy food. It's just your main sources of like food is just coffee and like bad chicken sandwiches, and it just doesn't sound great. And
Fair enough. Fair enough.
But you're constantly on the
don't question
breadline
it,
in
Cal.
pathologic.
Don't question it, Cal.
Logic, there's
He's-
at least the sun rises and you could save the world, and the worm people they're just so weird and like they're very nice to you. And
don't try and find logic in this, Cal. Just accept that he's
don't find
different.
logic in pathologic, but it's in the name.
Hey.
We need to stop. We need
Yes,
to
we
really.
do.
We're gonna wrap this up now. Well, that was all of the places that we would like to go in the indie world, all the worlds that we would love to go to. If you would like to hear more about us, you've already heard so much today, but if you want to hear some more, you can go to indiegameculture.com, where you will find our news, reviews, guides, and so much more. You can go to Discord and you can get in touch with us. If you want to join the Discord, you go to the website, you find the Discord link, you join and you chat. That is the order in which you do it. You can also find us on socials, and you can also give us a 5-star review. If you've stuck around this long and you haven't given us a 5-star review, you need to question your priorities. You need to figure out what's wrong. Do it, please. I beg you. But yeah, that has been the Indie Game Culture Podcast. We also have a whole catalog of episodes that you can visit if you have heard this one first. There are 13 others. So you are blessed with hours of content if you want to hear more of our sumptuous tones and ramblings. I've literally ran out of words, so I'm going to wrap this up. Everyone, would you say goodbye for me?
Bye-bye.
See everyone.
Bye.